Stand up, New York Knicks fans. I am super excited. I got my main man, Simeon Russell, on the show from Nothing But Knicks. What is going on, Sim? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, entertained. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me, and I'm super excited, man. Super excited.
I'm super excited to have you on the show. There's nobody better to have it on. I just want to say hello to a couple people that popped in the chat. I see MH is in the chat. I see Chris Sinor's in the chat. Sperm Cell, The Gritty Giant, Gangrene, Cesar Munoz, Tam Hill, Jeffrey Giordano. Anybody who is not subscribed to Simeon Russell, his link is in the description below. Please sub him up. Nothing But Knicks.
I'd appreciate it. So Chris, man, a lot of stuff going on in Knick land.
Oh my God! I don't know if you saw my video. I was very distraught after the trade because it came out of nowhere, Sim. It was just because it happened. It was like a snap. You know, there was no warning. I'm at work. You know, it's freezing in New York. You know that. I'm sure it's cold where you are.
Yeah.
And I get like a message on my phone that there's rumors they're trading him to the Raptors, and I'm in the middle of a job. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll make a video about that. And then I get back down to my truck 15 minutes later, and I see he was traded. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? Yeah. And it just threw me through a loop, man. It really did.
Man, look, I was home, left out of my house to go to basketball practice, right?
Right.
As I left out of my house, I see the tweet from a Woj bomb say that Kristaps Porzingis and the Knicks management had a meeting, and there was, some issues, and Porzingis said that he wanted to be traded, or they left out of the meeting with the understanding that KP wanted to be traded. I was like, okay, all right, well, Let's see what happens here. Maybe we're gonna trade him for Anthony Davis. That's what I was thinking. We'll see what happens. I go into practice. I think I get to practice like 3:30. We practice for 2 hours now. In the facility where I practice, I get no service, right? So I can't hear my phone buzz, no tweets, no messages, no anything. I leave out. As soon as I leave out of the building, my phone alerts start going crazy. I see texts like, this is crazy. What's happening? Where are you? And I'm like, what in the heck is going on? So I jump on Twitter and I see, some stuff. I don't see it right away. And so I'm still kind of like, yo, something's happening, but I don't know. And then, bam, I see it, that he got traded to the Mavericks. I was like, what? I was like, that was like that was the last place in the world that we were expecting, because you're figuring it's going to go to a contender, right? He's going to go to like a team, like you said, like, get traded. Well, not a contender, but a superstar like an Anthony Davis or Toronto, And when they said Mavericks, I'm just like, what the hell could they have just gotten? And then we find out they got DSJ, which I guess he has some upside. He's improved his game this year. His field goal percentage is shot. I think he only shot 38% last year. This year he's shooting 44%. So we'll see if Fizdale gets something out of him. But obviously the big part of this trade was getting rid of that cap space, and it was acquiring some draft picks. Now, I don't think those are going to be high draft picks. Just want to say hi to a couple more people that popped in. I see Mac popped in, Stephen Lilly popped in, Bobby popped in, Chuck Sharch popped in. Sim, there's my man, Mr. Bad Dog. I'm going to be on his channel later for the Super Bowl. Please check him out. And Sim, you put your link in the description when we reset it, right? I'm not sure that I did. I don't know. All
right, if you didn't, at some point, type it in the chat, because I want people to sub you up. You got a great channel over there. But I mean, I was just blown away, and I couldn't believe it. And I had to take like a day or two out to like realize what we got and what could become of this trade. And that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. Obviously, we're going to take some calls in like 5 or 10 minutes, but how do you think this trade could go right, and how do you think this trade could go wrong? That's really my question.
Well, I think it can go right. I think there's a couple of ways it can go right. Now, maybe a lot of New York fans, there's one point that a lot of New York fans may not agree with me on. I think it can go right in two ways. One, if we are able to pull in some superstars, right, then obviously you can say it went right. If we're able to get like the two cliche guys that people want is Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. If we're able to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, all is well. If we're able to get Kyrie Irving and Kawhi Leonard, or Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard, or one of the Ks except for maybe Kemba, right?
Right. I'm not a Kemba. I like Kemba, but he's not a max guy to me.
Right. But maybe if you get Kemba, maybe they don't pay him max money, and who knows. I'm not saying to go get Kemba. I'm just saying maybe they would understand that as well. But there's like 5 Ks out there, right?
Yeah, everybody talks about the Ks. You're right, though.
5 Ks out there.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence that they all have a K. Yeah, but you're right. To me, it's 3 guys. It's Kyrie, it's Kawhi, and it's, of course, Kevin Durant. Those are the 3 guys that anybody else, I don't want them signing to a max deal this year.
Yeah, and it just so happens that the Knicks begin with a K as well. So maybe the universe is, making things
and our best players got a K, Kevin Knox.
Exactly. So maybe New York is making things right. Maybe the universe is making things right in Knick world. But obviously, getting 2 of those guys would make the trade right. But I also think if we do not get one of those guys, and if Scott Perry and Steve Mills do the right thing by saying we're not going to blow this money on subpar or substar players like Kemba Walker and Jimmy Butler, right? If we're not going to blow the money on guys like that just to fill the gaps, and they say, we didn't get them, so we're going to commit to rebuilding, but now we have cap space to really maneuver and pull in guys when it's necessary to pull in guys, and guys that's going to fit, certain areas and certain spots on our team, then I think all is well that way too.
Now, let me give you and we talked about this on the phone yesterday when I called you. But I want to go over the hypothetical scenario that we talked about, because Anthony Davis right now makes $25 million. The cap is $109. We talked about that Kevin Durant and Kyrie would make up about $70 million. So let's go over the hypothetical scenario where this team, and this is pie in the sky stuff. It's probably not going to happen, but it's interesting to talk about. Let's go over the scenario where we could acquire Anthony Davis in his $25 million contract and still have enough space to bring in 2 maxes and fill out this roster. Because that is how I think you're going to attract a guy like a Durant, like a guy like a Curry. When you already have Davis on board and you can say, listen, we can bring you 2 aboard. We're going to have a triple threat. So let's go over that scenario. Who would they have to get off the cap to make that work?
So who would they have to get off the cap to bring in?
I mean, you're talking Knox, you're talking Ntilikina.
Okay, so to bring in Anthony Davis and still have room to sign 2 guys, I think it's very tough to do it. If you don't mind, I'm going to bring over a slide of the Knicks salary cap.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
Right? I think it's pretty tough. I think it's pretty tough to do without giving up cap space. Right? If you look right now for 2019, and this is really going to be the key area of doing it without giving up cap space. Anthony Davis makes $25 million, so you got to find a way to make $25 million out of your cap space,
right?
And
so
right
that now leaves you with 84. If you take that 25, you're going to need 70. So that's only $14 million worth of wiggle room.
Right, wiggle room, right? So I mean, basically, you've got to find 20 in 2019, 2020. We're committed to $38,000. Right, so you can
38 million, not thousand. 38 million.
$38 million. Right.
What do you think these guys? What do you think these guys? The cable tax him?
Right. $38 million. Okay.
Right.
6 million of that, 6.4 million of that is Joakim Noah. So that leaves $32 million of cap space. Right. $9 million is the first round draft pick. So the first round draft pick is going to have to go.
Right.
And then the rest of that is Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina.
And how much does DSJ make?
Right. Dennis Smith Jr. makes $4.4 million. Frank Ntilikina makes 4.8. Kevin Knox 4.3. Mitchell Robinson 1.5. The lottery pick is 9.7.
Well, I'm not going to include the lottery pick because if we were going to make this hypothetical trade, the lottery pick's gone.
Right, the lottery pick is gone. But what happens? The lottery pick, there's like a cap hold on our books for the lottery pick.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a $9.7 million cap hold on our books for the lottery pick.
So it's not conceivable. There's no way they could bring in two maxes with they did. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. Just about impossible to bring in two maxes and AD because, like I said, the Knicks are $38 million in for 2019-2020. $6 million of it is Joakim Noah, right?
Right, because they stretched him, which I didn't agree with.
Yeah, and then so that takes it down to 32, and then there's another $6 million. That's the minimum roster charge. That's going to be there, and that's going to be there until you fill in your roster. That kind of takes it down from 32 to 26. It's very hard. It's hard to get there. It's hard to get there.
Yeah, for the dream scenario to happen, guys would have to do what they did in Miami, where they took a little bit of a discount.
Yeah. Basically, basically that would happen. Now, you could find a way to do something like you can save a little bit of money off the cap if you traded Enes Kanter, and then you did like Kevin Knox and Frank Ntilikina. Let's just say, for example, right? Then if you did that, then it would be, those two guys would be $9 whatever million. So you could take it down to now, instead of paying them, well, you're still paying them $25 million, but that would help you save another $14 million on the cap. So then you could sign another star player and then have enough money to, fill in a couple of pieces. Right. Or something like that. So, it makes it tough. Now, the only other way I could see it happening is if there's a 3-team trade somehow and there's another team that can absorb some money. Then maybe that could happen. Right.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's just interesting things to talk about. It's all, like I said, it's pie in the sky. It's probably not going to happen. I'm just thinking of ways to attract Kevin Durant because if I'm Kevin Durant, I don't see the appeal to come here. I'm being completely honest with you. I don't, unless they know, okay, you're definitely coming with Kyrie. And even then, guys, the Skype, don't call in. I'll delete the Skype right now, actually, so we don't got to deal with that. Yeah, I mean, because I'm not even on Skype right now. You're going to call in through Sim's number. But I don't see it. I think they'll be drafting I think they're going to hold on to their draft pick. They're going to take Zion Williamson or John Moran, whoever they could take wherever they pick. I think they're going to try to sign Durant. I don't see it happening because if I'm Durant, Durant's 31?
Yeah, I think Durant's like 31 years old. Yeah.
If I'm Durant, I mean, at 31 years old, I say to myself, I got 3 or 4 years of top-tier basketball. And why am I going to go to a team that I know I can't win probably for the first 2 years? He can't. Yeah. Not without 3 maxes, because Zion's going to be young. He's not going to be right, or whoever they draft is going to be young. Yeah, I don't see it. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the appeal for Anthony Davis over Kevin Durant, to me, is that Anthony Davis is 26 years old. Or I think he's 25, going to be 26 years old. Kevin Durant, like you said, is 31. So with Anthony Davis, if you're able to get Anthony Davis, and then you can get another star that is, 25, 26 years old, now you've got those guys for, hopefully, you've got those guys, in a perfect world, you might have those guys for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and so you bring in Kevin Durant, you're going to have one star going out in a few years, or at least he's going to be, he's going to be starting to hit the downside of his career. You bring in Anthony Davis and another star that's 25, 26 years old. You got until those guys are 33, 34 years old. So you got 7, 8, 9, 10 years maybe. And then you still got young rookies, that can that can develop along with him. And when those guys start to slide, those guys will be, you have a whole team that you can really build around. With Kevin Durant, I guess it can still work, because if you get Kevin Durant and another one of the guys that's out there, and you don't trade your draft pick, right? And then now you got Kevin Knox, maybe Dennis Smith Jr., maybe Frank Ntilikina, your draft pick that can grow up around those two stars, Kevin Durant and whomever else you get. And then when those guys are fading away, you got those draft picks coming into their own. And then you still got more draft picks. We got 7 draft picks in the next 5 years. So that's a nice place to be, given the fact,
it's just frustrating, Sim. And I get you. I get it. I get that it's a good place to be with the 7 picks, with the cap space. Financially, we're in a good place. It's just so frustrating for me. And I know this could work out. I've come to the realization, I was very upset when they made the trade, but I've come to the realization now that this could definitely work out if things work out properly. But I've just been waiting so long for the Knicks to take a really good player in the draft, and they finally did it. And then they trade him away before he's 23 years old, and they sold us on this whole youth movement. And everybody thought Porzingis was going to be the leader of that.
Right.
And then they go and trade him, and it was just like, I don't know. Like, part of me is just like, it's almost like they're kind of going back to what they did when they went after LeBron. Now, I know they're in a better situation, like you said. They have Knox. They didn't really have any young talent on that team. They're gonna, unless they trade it, they're gonna have one of the top 3 or 4 picks in next year's draft, and they have cap space. So I recognize they're in a better situation, but it almost feels like they traded away their best young asset to try to get a 31-year-old superstar, and it could work out. I hope it works out. It's just, I don't know, it was frustrating for me.
Yeah, I feel like, given the situation, if the situation is what they say it is, given the situation, they probably did the best that they could have done, I think, given the situation.
Yeah. No. I recognize that. I'm not blaming the Knicks for this. Yeah. I came to the realization, and who knows, you're hearing conflicting reports now. You're hearing that the Knicks didn't shop him around, but from the initial reports, it said that KB was forcing his way out of here. So if that's the case, I can't blame the Knicks for acting quickly, because the longer you wait, his value lessens. So
exactly.
I don't blame them for getting what they could at the time, and they got a lot. They did. Yeah. Whenever you could get 2 big guys off the books that were horrible contracts, you could get 2 future first-round picks, and you got a good young asset in DSJ. So they did get a nice package, but it's just hard, man. It really is.
It is, because it makes you ask the question, why did KP want to leave? Right?
That's the question I have. That's the question I have, and I said it in my video, because KP, unless he's blind, he has to see that there's a future here. He has to know that in a year or 2 they're going to have cap space, and they're going to get a guy like a Zion Williamson in this year's draft. Right. So, to me, I don't think KP's a dumb guy. I don't think he's that short-sighted. I think he knows the Knicks were going to be a good team in a year or 2. Mm-hmm. But there was something more. There was something he has wrong, that he has a problem with this organization. There's something.
The only thing that I can think of, if it's not with the current regime, the only thing that I can think of is with everything that happened to him before this current regime came on. He just got fed up and just got sick. The Knicks are losing again this season, and they probably, told him, look, we're losing this year. We're probably, we're not going to run out and get vets to put around you. So, we may not, if we don't get if we don't get a couple superstar vets, we're not just going to put anyone around you. It may be a slow climb, and maybe he wasn't for it. Maybe he just wanted to win now. You know what I mean?
That may very well be it. He might have heard. And by the way, I want to say hello to Tyon Reed, popped in the chat. What's going on, my man? Everybody who's popped in the chat, and I know a lot of these people probably already subscribed to Sim, but if you are not, the link is in the description. Love Sim's channel. And before we take callers, what'd you say, Sim?
No, I didn't say that.
I was hearing an echo. Before we take callers, I just want to say, for anybody that doesn't know, when I first started on YouTube, Sim reached out to me and he had me on his channel. I'll never forget that. So anytime I could ever have Sim on the channel and try to help him out, I want to do it. So please go over there, sub him up. And before we take callers, Sim, of course, I'm going to mention it because it's Super Bowl Sunday. what's your plans for today? Where are you gonna watch the game?
I'm gonna watch it at home. I'm gonna sit home, watch it at home with my wife. Probably sit here and watch it. Of course, I am rooting for the Rams.
Right.
Because I'm a Patriot hater. Right. I'm a big Patriot hater. I do not like the Patriots. One of my best friends is a Patriots fan, so I know I'm going to hear from him all day long. And if the Patriots are winning, I'm going to hear from him all night. When the Patriots were playing the Chiefs, he was, and they were blowing the Chiefs out at first. He was all, he was texting and he was this and that, emoji here, emoji there. And then the Chiefs came back. And then the Chiefs took the lead. And he was silent. He was quiet. Nothing to say. Until obviously the end of the game, and then all of a sudden I hear from him again. I want the Patriots to lose so bad. The problem is I don't think they're gonna win.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, I really think the Rams can win. I think they match up very well, but I can't pick against Brady and Belichick, and so I can't do it. I just can't do it. They've won. They've proven to us wrong. Other than our Giants, of course. If they were playing our Giants, I think I take the Giants.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'll take the Giants. But I can't do it. I know they lost last year, but I can't pick against them. I just can't do it.
It's just so hard. They just know how to do it. They just know how to do it. And a team like the Rams, they haven't been there, not that much playoff and experience with the hype and how to deal with everything that surrounds the Super Bowl. The Patriots, Brady and Belichick, they just know how to deal with everything that surrounds the Super Bowl. They've been there 9 times. Right. I mean, it's like a regular season game for them.
Exactly.
They've been there so many times. Brady's been to the Super Bowl more than half of his career. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I didn't want to talk too much about football, but I wanted to bring it up because Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. I figure we'll take some callers. Obviously, this is a Knicks show. So if you're calling in, we want to talk about Porzingis. We want to talk about the trade. We want to talk about the future of this team. We're going to have plenty of football content on Bad Dog's channel. It's in the chat. Sub him up. We'll be on his channel at about 4:30. That's what I want to talk about, Sam. I want to talk to some people about what they think about this trade and the future of this team.
All right. Let's get the number up here. We got the number up, 516-405-2246. I see Who's Mark is in the chat, so I know Who's Mark has a lot to say about.
Who's Mark always has a lot to say. He was on my call-in show last night, and I said, save some of it for me and Sim, because it'll be a good conversation.
Yeah, because, Mark loves Kristaps Porzingis. He loves Porzingis. I know he was a little mad the other night on my show when I just said, you know what, we're done talking about Kristaps Porzingis. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the future. There's nothing we can do about it. He's gone. He's gone. And he was upset. He was mad. He still wants to talk about KP. Yeah, not really talk about him, but kind of get it off his chest. I get it though, Mark. I understand, but there's nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah, at this point, I've come to the realization that I'm a fan of the team, not the play. I love Porzingis. Porzingis was my favorite player in the league. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan. He was their best player. I loved him. I thought he was the future of the franchise. But you come to a realization that I'm a fan of the team. I'm not a fan of a player. Yeah. And at this point, whether or not it was a bad trade or not, we're not going to know until the end of this summer, and we might not even know then. It depends on what they do. But you just hope that your team does the best of what they got. And now what they have is what we said. They have cap space, and you hope they can make the most out of it.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, we got a caller if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on live with the entertainer and Simeon Russell from Nothing But Knicks. What's going on?
Hey, white chocolate. What's up, Sim?
What's up, Isaiah? What's up, man?
My man, Isaiah. I love Isaiah. I met Isaiah twice.
Hey, and let me tell you what. I remember Isaiah, especially when we got the appearing. As soon as I started taking calls, he was the first one. He used to be. He's not now. He used to be the first person every single time before anybody else even thought about calling in. The phone was ringing. It was Isaiah. He was ready to go. I got his name saved in and everything.
Yeah, Isaiah's the best. I've met him twice now, and Isaiah already told me when I do the Giants meetup next year, he's going to be there, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm definitely gonna.
You guys lucky I'm not. You guys lucky I'm not there. We could have had an Oreo. Yeah, we could have had an Oreo cookie.
This guy.
What's up, Isaiah? What do you want to talk about?
You know, Chris, I told you. I was talking on your YouTube channel last night. I listen. I was going in on KP because he's completely turned me off of what I thought he was. Especially last night with his post. Did you guys see the post he put?
I'm not sure if that post was real. Where he said 4 years of losing or whatever.
No, I'm talking about the post of stay woke Knicks fans.
Oh, okay. No. Okay. Somebody else there was something floating around that said he was tired of 4 years of losing. I don't think that was real. I think that was fake.
No, you should go look at the post where he said the Knicks fans deserve better, stay woke. It's all on Bleacher Report. You'll catch it on the Knicks page. But
I check that out.
If you guys read it, if you guys see it, I was done with it after I seen that, because this kid has been by far immature ever since and you can see it when David Fizdale said he wasn't running, and then the next thing he posts him running.
Right. Yeah, he was. You could tell that there was dissension between the Knicks and Porzingis for a while now, and we just didn't know how much there was until I guess recently. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I do feel like his management team, his brother, and KP, that they've been a little bit immature during their time with the Knicks. Skipping the exit interview. I felt that was immature. If you have a problem with management or whatever it is, the best thing to do is to go talk to him. Skipping the interview, I didn't really feel like did anything to help him. His brother Giannis, saying things, that guy, get on my nerves a little bit. And then, like you're saying, Isaiah.
Mark my words, Tim.
Yeah.
His brother's gonna ruin KP. I'm sorry.
I hope not. I know a lot of Knicks fans are pissed off at. I know a lot of Knicks fans are pissed off at KP now, and I hope not. I'm not one of these guys that is rooting for him to fail now. I hope he succeeds. I just hope the Knicks win the trade.
Yeah, I hope that he. I hope that he just gets an agent and not stick with his brother. I feel like he's gonna stick with his brother. It's a family thing. I also get that, but I just hope that he gets an agent. Someone who's been around the business for a while. Alan Hahn, I was listening to, I forgot the show, but I was listening to Alan Hahn.
The Michael K show.
Yeah, the Michael K show. And Alan Hahn was saying that when that was going down, he spoke to KP and his brother and said, no, don't do this. This is not what you do. You're a young guy. You got a lot of potential. Don't do this in New York. And they kind of looked at him like, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And he said, KP is a really good kid. This is Alan Hahn speaking. He said, KP is a really good kid. He said, but he's got the wrong team behind him. They're young. They don't really know what they're doing. I just hope that's, it doesn't boil over into Dallas and then something else happens in Dallas. And then, because if it happens in Dallas, now other teams are going to start to look at him and say, I don't know, maybe you got a little Lonzo Ballish stuff going on with you, with your family and stuff, right?
Yeah. But one thing I'm going to bring up, you brought up Dallas. Now, I don't know the cap situation. I said this in my video, but if they have a max, like, if you're a free agent, wouldn't you want to go there much sooner before you'd want to go to the Knicks? I mean, they have two superstars now, and they have, one of the best owners in the sport. So, like, that's a situation where, like, thank you so much for the super chat, Bad Dog. He says, KD, Kyrie, Zion, 19 and 20, Knicks 34 and 46 will still stink.
I don't know if that could be possible in the East, man. KD, Kyrie, and Zion, I don't know if 36 and 34 could be possible.
QC, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. But Isaiah. But what do you think about I know you were just as down as I was after the trade. I saw you post on my
really
video. Yeah, we were all reactionary. We're all passionate Knicks fans. But, like, where's your mindset now? Like, what do you want to come from this? Like, let's say the Knicks miss on Durant. They miss on Kyrie. Like, are you worried that they're going to go out and they're going to sign a guy like a Butler to a max, a guy like a Cousins, someone like that?
You know, Chris, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think a couple of years ago, yes, I'd have been completely scared of if the Knicks didn't get who they wanted, they'll get the Tobias Harrises, the Kemba Walkers, the Boogie Cousins, the Jimmy Butlers, and they'll just be mediocre. But I think I wholeheartedly believe in Scott Perry. He hasn't done anything wrong yet, in my opinion, for the most part. I do believe if we don't get the guys we want, I don't think the pressure's going to come with gotta sign a guy. I believe they will sign. They'll do 1-year deals. Listen, I believe in Scott Perry. He helped build a championship in Detroit, and I wholeheartedly believe that he's not. Listen, I always say it like this: if we realize the second tier guys aren't the best options, I would hope to believe these guys who get paid millions of dollars can see that too. That's my biggest belief, is that I hope Scott Perry can see, okay, Kemba Walker, Boogie Cousins, that's not going to move the needle to where we want to be. You got to sign top 10.
I agree with you. I agree with everything you just said.
Top 10, and I believe they will stay the course, and they will just do 1-year deals and just try again the next year.
Yeah.
I hope so. And Sim, I could be mistaken. I know AD is obviously the big name the following year's free agency. Is Beal available as well? Something tells me Beal was, but he may be a different. Maybe he's not an unrestricted free agent. I don't know.
I'm not sure of his contract. I do know that for this trade deadline, the Wizards said that they're not going to move anyone. They're still trying to get into the playoffs. So they're not looking to move Bradley Beal or John Wall, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure when his contract is up. Honestly, I would love to have Bradley Beal on the Knicks. I really do like Bradley Beal. I think he's a good defender. I like the way he plays on offense. You know, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sim. Clashman said he signed an extension last year. Oh, did he?
So that did it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I know he was supposed to be. I guess he signed an extension.
It's just a quick update to the chat.
I think that's the one guy they don't want. That's the one guy they don't want to trade.
Yeah, a quick update to the chat. Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan are starting today for the Knicks. Just to let you know, they're getting ready to play the Memphis Grizzlies. Joakim Noah is back in New York. We'll see, what kind of reception he gets from the crowd every time he touches the basketball. But yeah, Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan are starting. The game should be starting in just a few minutes.
I hope everybody enjoyed. Well, I guess you're going to probably get some viewers for that. You want to see the new players. And speaking of DeAndre Jordan, we talked about this too yesterday, Sim.
Yeah.
And I'll ask Isaiah, do you think it's possible the Knicks bring this guy back to both be a mentor, obviously him and Mitchell Robinson have a similar type of game, and a guy that can potentially help you win if you could get him on a cost-effective deal?
Yeah. I think it all depends on what happens in free agency. If the Knicks are able to pull down 2 stars, those guys are going to want to win. Mitchell Robinson, in my opinion, is not going to get it as the starting center. Not right now. Not next year. Not 1920. In a few years, I think he'll definitely be a starting center in the NBA, and he'll be like DeAndre Jordan. If the Knicks get 2 star players, 2 superstars next year, then I think, yes, you try to bring DeAndre Jordan back on a good deal, maybe a mid-level exception. Maybe he takes the vet minimum. You start bringing in stars, other veterans want to join on, and they're more willing to take the vet minimum. But I think, you bring in, if you can keep DeAndre Jordan, and you can find a way, after free agency, after everything calms down, and you've signed who you're going to sign, and if it looks like you got a squad that'll be able to compete for the playoffs, I think you try to get DeAndre Jordan, one, to be that key cog as a defensive center. And I know we had a guy on the show the other night call and say that DeAndre Jordan he's from Dallas. He's a Dallas Mavericks fan, said, he wasn't really playing at that defensive level. But still, he's a guy he's played with stars. He's been in big games. He's been not as deep as they should have with the Clippers in the playoffs, but he's been in the playoffs. He's a guy that understands what it takes, where Mitchell Robinson isn't that guy. He's green. This guy is, he's just running around on the floor, trying to get used to the NBA. So, to have him out there with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving as your starting center, I think would be a mistake. I think it would be a mistake. Not just for his play on the floor, but for his confidence. Those guys are going to expect a certain level of play, and I don't think Mitchell Robinson will be ready to bring that level of play, whereas someone like DeAndre Jordan would.
Okay. No, the volume was dropping out, but it just popped back in. Okay. I couldn't hear you for a second.
Thanks.
But Isaiah, I'm going to let you close it out, and then we're going to take another caller because we're on limited time.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Sim just took my whole notes. Thanks, Sim, for that. I appreciate you. But I totally agree with Sim with that. Listen, and here's another thing people don't notice: when you, let's say everything flows for us and we get our guys, he gets the veteran minimum. When you're in New York and you're playing for the Knicks, just double that veteran minimum because the endorsements you get, the commercials you're going to be on, everything you get, you're not even worried about the veteran because you're going to be making a lot more money if you play in New York. So once we become good, DeAndre Jordan, I think you don't sign up for no more than the veterans minimum, or maybe $8 million, maybe $7 million. But yes, I totally agree with Sim. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Sim, for letting me come on. Oreo cookie all day, baby.
Man. This guy.
All right, Isaiah. Enjoy the Super Bowl, my man. I always love talking to you.
Have a good one. Yeah, love you guys. Love you guys, man. Have a good one, man. See you later, man.
Later.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. We'll wait for the next call. Isaiah always brings the laugh, Sim.
Always. And he's always talking about food. He brings the laugh and he's talking about food. No matter what.
You're right. He always got the chicken wings or something in the streams. He's always eating
chicken wing, Jello pudding, whatever. Now he's changed his diet up a little bit though. So big shout out to Isaiah for that. He said he's on like a water diet, so the only fluids he's drinking is water, which is good. And he's not vegan, but he's cut out meat for a little while so that, he's trying to get himself ready to go. I don't know. Maybe, hey, Isaiah, and I guess you can answer this later. Most people don't do this unless there's something big happening. And I know he's been with his girl for a while. Is like marriage? Is that in the works? Are you trying to fit into that marriage day tux? You gotta let us know, man. I don't know.
Bringing up that M word.
Yeah.
Isaiah's always fun to talk to. Man, thank you for calling in, Isaiah, and enjoy the pudding today. But, hopefully we get a couple more callers in. I know Mark said he wanted to call.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Chris, what do you think about this lineup? Because this is what the Knicks are starting today.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now. Dennis Smith Jr.,
okay.
Damian Dotson, Kevin Knox, Noah Vonleh, and DeAndre Jordan. How do you feel about that lineup?
I don't hate that lineup. I mean, DeAndre Jordan obviously at this point, most Knicks fans are rooting for him to lose. But, it's really not that bad of a lineup. You have good defense there, with Vonleh and with Jordan. Obviously, Knox at the 3.
Yeah.
It's not a bad lineup. I like Dotson. I'm a Dotson guy. I don't know if he's going to be a starter once we get good, but I like Dotson. I think he's a nice rotational player. I like that lineup.
Yeah.
What about you?
Man. I like the lineup. I honestly feel that. Excuse me, ladies. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Let me make sure you have the right number. The number is 516-405-2246. 516-405-2246. And when you call, you'll hear a message, a Nothing But Knicks message. And then
Yeah, that's the number. That's the number. Yeah. I see Mark. He's saying a woman's picking up the phone.
Yeah,
that's the number, Mark. I mean, Isaiah just called it. We were talking to him. That's the number.
Yeah. That's 516-405-2246.
Maybe he was talking to one of my female subscribers.
I don't know.
But actually, Mark's calling my cell phone. Hold on. Mark just called my cell phone. Mark, you called the wrong number.
Yeah. I think maybe there was a 2256 up there. So it's 2246 up there right now. So maybe that was the issue.
Okay, yeah, 2246.
It's 516-405-2246. And when it picks up, you'll hear my voice and my message come on. So, but anyway, I honestly feel that this lineup, this team right here, if we had this team from the beginning of the season, even if we didn't have KP, would have been able to contend for a playoff spot. And Dennis Smith Jr. just scored the first 2 points of his Knicks career already. And yeah, but I think this team could have contended for a playoff spot.
Could be at least. Yeah, and a lot of people probably aren't happy about that because they want the Knicks to lose as many games as possible.
Right.
Right. And we'll see. But do you think they'll cut these guys if they can't trade them?
I don't know. Not the way that it sounds from Fizz. Fizz sounds like he wants to, play with these guys. Got another caller on the line, Chris.
All right, you're on live with the Entertainer and Simeon Russell from NothinButKnicks. What's going on?
It's your boy.
Is this Mark?
This is me.
Mark,
what's going on, Mark? How you feeling, buddy? I know you were a little choked up last night. Are you feeling any better?
Yeah, I sort of kind of lost my voice because, it's been 4 days and I'm like highly depressed. Like I'm so depressed. Like for real. Like I never felt like this in a long time. I'm highly depressed.
Well, you got support here, Mark. You got support here. Yeah, seriously,
think of us as like your Knicks therapy.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's the fickleness.
Are you laying down in a chair right now, Mark? Because that's usually how we could get. That's usually what you do when you go to therapy. You laying down?
Well, I'm watching the game. But it's. I'm not mad at the trade. This is what you're not understanding. You know what I come to realization? Scott Perry's getting rid of everything that Phil Jackson brought to the team. Like he's clearing out everything.
Right.
What I feel is because he didn't draft Porzingis, you know what? He probably just didn't want to. He didn't value him as much as I value him.
Okay.
I understand that because. Okay, you didn't draft him, and that's what new general managers do. I don't believe that he did not want to leave. Him, Porzingis himself. I don't think he wanted to leave going from New York to Dallas. When they put him in a trade for the Pelicans, he didn't want to go because they don't have the room to put players around. That's why Anthony Davis left, because there was cap hold. They couldn't bring in nobody else. They developed Anthony Davis well, but if Porzingis looked at the landscape and said, okay, they're going to trade me to the Pelicans, they're not going to be able to put the right players around me. And that system that they run, they absolutely play no defense. They are ranked last, even with Anthony Davis on the floor. These players watch other players play, and they watch other players complain about where they're at. So they're just watching the landscape. These players are putting themselves in position very, very well right now. I'm not mad at what Scott Perry did. Cool. You got rid of Porzingis. Cool. I'm not mad. But in that position, don't smear his name like he didn't want it to say. Put it in the PR, because this is the thing what Knicks fans don't understand. The Knicks hasn't been good for 20 years. So what type of power do they have for us as fans to listen to anything they say in PR? Because at the end of the day, James Dolan controls what goes in and what goes out of PR.
Okay.
Now, as I'm watching Ian Begley on Twitter, and he's very sourceable, and Chris Mannix, these guys are very sourceable.
Sim, do you remember when I said it's not that I'm not mad at the trade to clear space because they're going to get Kevin Durant. This is a big thing. They made this move because they know they're going to get Kevin Durant.
Now, Mark, I'm going to let you continue, but you really think the Knicks are going to get Kevin Durant?
Yeah, it's in play. It's in play because it was so perfect because, like, remember I said Kevin Durant is not going to come here? Mm-hmm. If they would have just kept Porzingis, they only have one max slot. But what's so crazy about it, Nick, when I said the way they traded him so fast, Chris Mannix, this is being reported. And I think when Monday comes, you're going to start seeing the news flood out. It's the weekend, so it's not going to flood out. Chris Mannix said that remember when Scott Perry said that he called teams all around the league, all 29 teams? That is a false statement. The fact that they had Dallas right away, they just got rid of him because he didn't want him. So he just took the quick trigger. Here, let me get rid of the cap space. Cool.
Now, one thing I'm going to ask you is about that, Mark. And I'll let you continue. You say that they only called Dallas. Now, the one thing I will say in potentially defensive Knicks, if that is true, it's possible that the Knicks wanted to get rid of him as quickly as possible because they knew if word leaked out, his value would have diminished tremendously because teams would have known the Knicks were in desperation.
That's backwards.
What were you saying?
Because that's backwards. Because I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Why is that backwards?
Because the fact that other teams were skeptical that they didn't know that he was that he was even available. This is what Chris Mannix said. He's one of the writers for Boston. He's one of the writers for Boston and for the league. He's very credible. Anything he said, it's a lot.
Yeah, we get that. Go ahead.
The fact that other teams didn't know, that means his value he would add value to other teams. He would add value to other teams. We could have shopped him. We could have shopped him and Hardaway. That Hardaway contract would have came off regardless because he was the center of the thing. That's why Dallas pulled so fast. on that trade. If Dallas was there, Dallas would have been. We could have waited till the summer. Period. That's why I said we panicked.
I
don't. Panicked.
I disagree with you because I don't think we panicked. I think it was in the works, and I think that I feel like if you feel like a player doesn't want to be there, right? And you had a conversation and the player, basically what I've read is that they asked KP.
Yeah.
They said to him, "We will commit to you long term. Will you commit to us long term?" And he didn't want to commit long term. He could not say that. Not that he didn't want to commit long term. He did not say that he would commit long term. And so they didn't want to commit $150 million to a player that wasn't going to commit long term. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I get that. I understand that. Right? I feel like instead of having this hanging over your head, if you're really trying to make some moves, and I can understand KP's side if he doesn't want to commit long term. I get it. You've been through a lot. You've been through a whole lot with the Knicks. The 4 years that you've been here, you've been through 3 different coaches, 2 different regimes. I get it. It's like, you know what? Just give me a fresh start. I understand that wholeheartedly.
Right.
But then I also understand from the Knicks standpoint, let's get it done. Let's make it happen. Let's make it move because we don't want to play around with this, especially if you're trying to make something happen in free agency. Now you want to wait until the summer, right? When now you got free agents that possibly could have been looking, but they don't know what's happening with KP and they don't know where things stand. Then now you really push those guys away. The way it is now is like, okay, they can see it. They know he's gone. Okay, KP is gone. I would have liked to play with him, but he's gone. They got draft picks. They got room to add 2 people. Okay, let's take this serious. Where if you're up in the air with what's going to happen with KP, then some guys would be like, I don't know.
The one thing I'm going to say and about this whole situation, and by the way, I want to say hello to Bavit. He's in the chat. Mark is on the line, Bavit. Bavit loves Mark too. The one thing I will say is we really don't know the whole story. Everything's hearsay. You could choose to believe what you want. It's like the news. I mean, half the news is fake, half of it's real. You don't know what to believe. It's the same thing. you don't know what's true and what's not, and you choose to believe what you want to believe. That's really what's going on right now with KP.
Basically.
Because we don't know if he forced his way out, and we don't know if the Knicks forced him out, and we'll probably never know, to tell you the truth.
Right. And it could have been something that was just kind of mutual. Like, they seen that he wasn't committed long term. He felt that maybe he would have been happy someplace else, and so it worked out that way. The one thing I will say is, KP, like, I seen the thing that he said, the truth will come out, whatever it is. Instead of dropping hints, just say it. You're gone. You're not with the team now. If you really want it to get out, just say it. Why wait for a reporter to say it? Why wait?
Players ain't going to say it. Players ain't going to say it.
But my question is this: I think KP wanted. I mean, I don't know this, but I think KP wanted out because
I do too.
Why else would the Knicks trade the guy? I mean, if you have a brain, the guy's 23 years old.
Exactly.
He's 23 years old and he's flashed brilliance. I mean, I don't think the Knicks are that dysfunctional. I think they know that they have a budding superstar if the guy can stay healthy. I don't think they would have traded him unless he went to the Knicks and said, if you guys don't do this for me, I'm not staying. And the Knicks said, you know what? You're going to do it our way or we're going to get rid of you. Right. And to me, if I had to guess, I think that's what happened.
Entertainer, retract what you just said. You said the Knicks isn't that what?
I think KP went. This is just me guessing. This is not facts, but I think what happened was KP showed that he was disgusted with the Knicks. They probably had a meeting. KP went to the Knicks and said, "What's the direction of this team? Give me your 2-year plan." And the Knicks presented them with what they were looking to do over the next 2 years. And KP probably didn't like where they were going. And he said, "You know what? If you don't want to be here, we're going to get rid of you." And I think that's what happened.
No, I'm saying you saying the Knicks ain't dysfunctional. That's what you said.
No, they're definitely dysfunctional. I said I don't think they're that dysfunctional to the point where they would trade a 23-year-old superstar.
Okay. See, there's no proof of the Knicks ever doing something great for their own team. It's 20 years of the same garbage.
I agree. I'm not telling you that they're a functional franchise. We all know they're a dysfunctional franchise.
They signed Amari Stoudemire knowing that the man only had 2 years of great needs, and they gave him $100 million, and they capped the team. What kind of team gets valuable information and signs the player?
Okay, let me ask you this. I don't even want to go back to Amari or Carmelo being brought here. But listen, because
I'm just saying.
I know, but listen. What has Scott Perry, besides this KP trade, right? If you don't like the KP trade, besides the KP trade, what has Scott Perry done to make you say he's incompetent?
Wait, hold on.
No, just answer my question. No, answer my question. Answer my question, Mark.
I'm going to answer your question. This is what I said in the beginning. He's getting rid of everything that Phil brought to this team. That's exactly what I said in the beginning.
Okay, so but answer my question. Answer my question. But answer my question. What has he done that's incompetent?
Nothing. He's getting
Nothing.
Everybody from Phil's.
Listen for a minute. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Right? You say he's done nothing that's incompetent since he's been here. So why go back? Why go back to Amari and all of that? We're talking about Scott Perry.
Okay.
And by the way, I just want to address the movie critic, what he just said in the chat. He said his example, and first off, this is the coach, but he's saying a dysfunctional move by the Knicks was to sit Cantor when he's a great player. Cantor's not a great player. Cantor can't play defense worth a lick. He's probably the worst defense. I like Cantor. I root for Cantor. I think he's a gritty guy. He gets offensive boards. He gets second chance opportunities. But if you watch that guy play on the defensive end, he might be the worst defensive player in basketball. I can't stand. When I live stream games, I start screaming at the TV. He's the worst defensive player in the sport. I can't wait to get rid of that guy.
Yeah. I mean,
okay. I understand what you said, and I said it before. I said it in the beginning. He's getting rid of everyone that Phil Jackson traded for, signed, and drafted. I understand that. I'm not mad at the trade. You're not getting what I'm saying. I'm saying that we didn't have to move KP so quick. We could have used him We could have used.
Yeah, no. I get what you're saying, Mark. You think that the Knicks? You think that you're not against it. You're not against the Knicks' strategy of trading KP. You're against that. You feel like they should have done a better job trying to get the best deal they could have gotten.
That's what I've been trying to say for the last 4 days, but people are very fickle, not listening.
Mark, everybody understands that.
Hold on.
Everybody understands how you feel about that. Everybody understands how you feel about that.
Okay.
I disagree with you though. I think that they had been discussing with teams well before this whole thing went down. It's just it was quiet and it went down, and so everyone thinks it's a shot.
And I just explained to you that statement that they put out in Knicks PR. It is, matter of fact, I'm not going to say nothing. It might not be true. This is what I'm saying.
And what the other people are saying may not be true either. It could be a mistake by Chris Mannix and Ian Begley.
So let me ask you a question. Now, if that statement come out saying they did not contact no other team but Dallas and made that deal, how would you feel?
You know what?
There's other teams with better assets. Wait, hold on. There's other teams with better assets and better picks than Dallas.
You know what? I feel, first of all, we don't know what those picks in Dallas are going to be. So you can't say better picks because you don't know what those picks are. Any team that you trade with, listen, any team that you trade with, you don't know what those picks are until the year of the draft, Mark.
Well, and you also have to take into account, you have to find a match for a team that could take on the cap space that Dallas took on with those two players.
Exactly.
Not every team could have done that. I don't know. I can't give you every team's cap situation, but I'd be willing to guess that there's not that many teams that could take on the salary that they took on.
Yeah.
So you got to take that into account as well.
Chris, how much Porzingis is making this year?
What they took
or something like that.
Yeah, but they took on Hardaway, and they took on how much? I mean, between Hardaway and Lee, what is that, like $30 million?
$40 million.
Okay.
Yeah, $30 million. They took on $40 million of salary.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a lot of salary to take on. You got to take.
Okay.
Well, no, but okay, no, they didn't. So, Sam, I'm not thinking. They got rid of Jordan and they got rid of Wes Matthews. So it was kind of a swap.
Right, but going forward, they took on.
They took on the money. Right. And not a lot of teams would have been willing to do that.
Right. They took on Tim Hardaway's salary until 2020-21 or whatever it is. And I'm not sure if it's a team option or a player option after that. I think Courtney Lee is off next year. I mean, they took on salary. They took on salary, and Dallas is taking a chance.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask both you guys this hypothetical. Would you have rather done what they did, where they got rid of salary, or would you have rather acquired high draft picks and kept Hardaway? So when I say that, say like they could have hypothetically made a trade with Chicago. You know, just an example, but it's probably not very realistic. But say they could have. Would you have rather gotten their top pick and kept Hardaway and that cap space, or would you have rather gotten late first-round picks and gotten rid of the cap space?
I think I would have I would have done what we've done, because the cap space gives you.
Quick fix.
The cap space.
Do this.
The cap space gives you so much flexibility, right? I mean, you know. You could possibly take those two draft picks and maybe one day trade them for a third, fourth, or fifth round draft pick, right? It gives you so much flexibility to have 7 first round draft picks in 5 years.
Oh, well, Sim, this isn't football. There's no fifth round draft picks.
No. I mean, you know, not a fifth round, but a fifth pick.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding with you.
Right. But I mean, it gives you so much flexibility. Not only, you know, if you have cap space, right? Let's say the Knicks, you know, strike out in free agency. You could say, you know what?
They failed if they did. They failed if they did.
They could say, you know what? We're not gonna be players until 2019, 2020 anyway. Yep. We'll take on whoever's contract for this year if you give us a first round draft pick. And then in 2019, 2020, that person is off the books and they're still able, you know, they're able to do things like that. You can be so flexible in building the team. So even if they do strike out on free agency, I don't think it's a fail, because they still have so many assets to build with. And I'm not saying KP wasn't an asset, but
Jesus Christ, yo.
But I'm not saying KP wasn't a great asset.
You sound fickle, bro.
You know what? I don't want to interrupt the conversation. I'm going to give Mark another like 2 minutes to say what he wants to say, and then we're going to take the next caller because we're running out of time. Yeah. So, but Mark, I'm going to let you, whatever you want to say, I'm going to let you close out the phone conversation because I know Mark's the type of guy when he calls in, he could talk for 5 hours, so you kind of have to cut him off. But I could talk to him for 3 days if I had to. But
Mark is great to talk to, though.
Yeah,
great to talk to.
But go ahead, Mark. Say what you got to say. Say your piece.
We could have done what the Pelicans is doing with Anthony Davis right now. They are not shopping him. They are waiting to the summer to see who else has anything else available. This is what I'm talking about. We could have kept – Porzingis did not have to go that quick. If that Dallas deal was there, it was going to be there until – that Dallas deal was going to be there till the summer. We did not have to pull the trigger. This is what I'm talking about. Dallas wanted him. It's not like Dallas didn't want him. Dallas wanted him. So we could have used that as a trump card. The Knicks only called 8 teams. There was only 8 teams Knicks called. And when this comes out, I don't care what nobody says to me in this chat. They're not understanding that. I don't know most of y'all. So whatever y'all say doesn't bother me. Yeah, I'm emotional. So the hell what? So
that's why we love you, Mark. That's why we love you, Mark.
It's a human trait. I'm not no damn robot. I'm not used to a team. I'm not used to a team making me happy. This is 20 years of incompetent crap. How can you trust anything that they do in a quick fix? I'm not mad about Porzingis
it's not a quick fix.
Removing himself. I am mad because we could have milked other teams.
Well,
we could have milked because he was, as I say, he was the golden ticket. As fast as Dallas called for him with those injury problems, there was other teams lined up. But we don't, like I said, you're right, we don't know. But when this report that Chris Mannix pull out, once Monday come and you start seeing all this Knicks fluff, because it's going to come out. It's going to come out. I don't want to hear nothing from no one because I'm going to be right. And when I'm right, I'm going to come and I'm going to smile and I'm going to look at every single Knicks fan and say, look how fickle you was and we didn't have to move him. Not yet. We could have milked other teams. And that is my big gripe. Cool.
And I'm gonna ask you this, Mark, before we let you go. How much more do you think? No, I'm just asking you. I'm not saying you're even wrong in what you're saying. How much more do you think we could have gotten? Because let's take into account what we got. Let's be fair. We got a ton of cap space. We now have $75 million in cap space. We got 2 future first-round picks, and we got a guy who has the potential to be an above-average starting point guard in this league, whether or not you like him or not. So, like, how much more do you think we could have gotten than what we got?
Okay, so check it now. Those two space, right? So KD's coming because he's going to come with Kyrie, like I said, because he's not coming in by himself. So just opening the space, he could choose whoever you want to play with. So that's just going down. Now, when Kyrie arrives, right? When Kyrie arrives, Dennis Smith is going to either go to the bench or he might not like that, okay, I'm playing behind Kyrie. I'm a young lottery pick. So I kind of think highly of myself. Do you think he might force the trade out? Or be disgruntled?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe, but I mean, like,
because.
But what Chris is asking you, what do you think we could have gotten? What do you think if you wanted the Knicks? If you wanted the Knicks to wait and try to juice some teams, what do you think they could have gotten?
Okay, perfect scenario. The 8 teams that they call Toronto, right?
Now, can I just say something real quick? Go ahead. I honestly think that 8 teams is a good number of teams, especially if you're looking at, if you have a certain objective in mind, and your objective is to clear off Tim Hardaway and Courtney Lee. There may only be 8 teams that can do that for you, but go ahead.
All right, I don't mean to cut it short, guys, because there's several people in the chat saying they're trying to call in. And I love talking to Mark. And I'm going to have Mark on my channel where we do a show together. But I want to allow other people to call in because we don't have that much more time.
Yeah, let's get it to him.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, though, Mark.
All right, Mark. I'll see you on the show, on the post-game show, Mark.
I don't know. I might really like not be a Knicks fan no more. Like honestly,
don't say that. Don't say that.
No. I'm really about to, because what we did, we didn't have to do so quick. We could have did the same thing that Pelicans is doing. It's the most dumbest thing I ever seen in my life. I swear to God, I'm really that depressed. Really.
Don't say that.
Don't say that.
I hope you feel better.
Call us after the game, man. Call us after the game, Mark. Call us after the game. Come into the video chat after the game, man. Talk it out. Talk it out,
man. This team's a joke. And you get DeAndre Jordan. That man don't play any defense anymore. Have y'all watched him in Dallas? He sucks.
I mean, the thing is, you don't have to keep him if he doesn't. But anyway, Mark, we're gonna let you rock, man. All right.
Thank you for calling in, Mark. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
I tell you, and I know we let Mark talk for a while, but Mark is a classic caller. Brings a lot of energy. Diehard Knicks fan.
Yeah.
So we always give him some extra time.
Yeah. Got another caller. Let's see.
All right. What's going on? You're on live with the entertainer. Who's this?
Got another caller. Let's see. All right.
Hello.
What's going on? You're on live with the entertainer. Who's this?
Hello.
I hear.
Could you
Hello?
could you turn that down in the back, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing?
Who's this?
Midwest Sports.
Midwest Sports. What's going on? What do you want to talk about, buddy?
I don't like what happened last night.
What are you talking about? The Knicks? Are you talking about, this is a show to talk about the Knicks. If you're not talking about the Knicks, we'll talk about that when I have my call-in show on Monday.
Okay.
All right, call in on Monday.
Okay.
All right. I don't know. I mean, I honestly feel like, and maybe there were better deals out there. I don't know. But, you look at, everything that's going on with Anthony Davis. And, this, to me, is kind of being held over the Pelicans' head. Right? It's just a cloud over top of the team. I don't want that to happen with KP, where it's just a cloud over the team for the remainder of the season. You know what I'm saying? Got another caller on the line.
All right, go ahead. You're online with the entertainer. Thank you for calling in.
Chris, did you really think you were going to go a whole day without hearing from me on the Super Bowl?
Is this Bobby?
You know it.
Yeah, what's going on, man? Bobby's, of course, at the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. What's going on, Bobby?
Hey, man. Hey, I just wanted to weigh in from a Boston fan's point of view. On the Porzingis trade.
Yeah, go ahead.
The way I'm looking at it is, you dumped all those contracts to make cap space, correct?
That's that. Yeah, and get draft picks. But yeah, the main attraction in that deal was the cap space.
The cap, right? Yeah, to open cap space. Well, I mean, there's been multiple reports from a lot of credible beat writers in Boston saying that Kyrie wants out, and they don't. There's a 70% chance that he's not staying, and if the Knicks manage to land someone big in the free agency, that it would draw him there as well. Because I think if I looked at the numbers right, if they somehow managed to get someone like KD there, they could afford the two of them. I think it's $75 million or $70 million to do both.
70.
Yeah, it's 70. Yeah, 38 for KD, 32 for Kyrie.
Because I personally don't think Kyrie's going to be here next year as a Celtic.
And I kind of agree with you. Everything I've read recently, and I thought that before the year started, and then during the season, it sounded as if Kyrie was going to stay, but now it's starting to sound more like he's going to leave.
And back in October, they held an event for season ticket holders for the Celtics.
Right.
And he said there was no doubt that he was staying. And now, as of like 2 weeks ago, he's basically kind of backed up on that statement and said, "Ask me July 1st."
And let me ask you a question. As a Celtics fan, do you want them to keep Kyrie?
I would like to see it. I mean, the guys. The one thing with him is, and you've seen it. I don't know if you guys watch or hear any news about the Celtics, but the last month he's been in and out with, little small injuries here and there. It's always kind of something. The longevity with him has always been the issue. It's the first 3 quarters of the season are great, but the wear and
that's why I asked you. That's why I asked you. That's the only thing I worry about as a Knicks fan, because of course Sim and I both know we had the experience with Amari Stoudemire with the bad knees, and
right.
We know Kyrie's a little beaten up a little bit, so that's what I would worry about. And I would take the gamble, but I definitely get the concern of giving him a max deal.
Would you take Kyrie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way, Sim. I got a question for you, Sim. Would you take, if you knew it was just going to be Kyrie and they weren't getting another guy, would you take him? Because I wouldn't.
No.
I would only want Kyrie knowing I'd be either getting Kawhi or KD with him.
Right. As a matter of fact, if I'm looking at it like this, I don't know what Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be. I've always had, some complaints about, him defense, him being a point guard, but I always recognized that he was young and wanted him to have a good career. If we look at him and say, you know what, this guy really could be the future point guard, I wouldn't have a problem with saying, well, let's go try to get Kevin Durant and Kawhi and let him be our point guard.
Well, of course, no. I mean, that's pie in the sky, but if we get Kawhi and KD, you run to the bank.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why I say that. It's because the Celtics recently, within the last 72 hours, have put out multiple articles from really reputable beat writers down here that are plugged in not only with management with the Celtics, but with the locker room as well. And they're saying that Kyrie isn't going to stay unless he gets somebody of like Anthony Davis. He's basically seeing that the Celtics aren't gelling. Like they're just not. They're not the talent's not willing to take back seats and sacrifice for the team. They're not playing as a team. There's plenty of talent, but they're not playing well as a team, as a unit.
Which is kind of ironic because last year the Celtics outperformed with the injuries, of course, to Hayward and Kyrie, and they did as well as they did. It's kind of the reverse effect this year.
Yeah, and I wonder how much Hayward hasn't had the year that people thought he was going to have. Obviously, coming off of an injury, I don't know how much you could expect it. It probably takes a year for him to be healthy.
There's a rumor going around Boston that Danny Ainge has informed Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown that come July 1st, if the Pelicans ask for both of them and a pick that Ainge for Davis, he would do it.
Wow. Well, that would definitely hold something over your team.
Yeah.
It's been multiple. There's been 2 articles released in the last 5 days that he called them personally into his office and told them that.
Wow.
That if the Pelicans wanted that he would do that.
Wow.
Now, do you guys think Davis is going to get traded before the deadline? I don't personally.
I don't.
But do you guys?
He's not going. He's not going anywhere until July.
I agree, because if I'm the Pelicans, I'm looking at it like this. Why am I going to trade? Let's just use the Knicks as a hypothetical. Why am I going to make a trade with the Knicks not knowing what pick they're going to get in the lottery?
Yeah.
Why am I not waiting and then finding out who has the first pick? If the Bulls get the first pick, they obviously have more value than the Knicks do. So it's I would wait. I would wait till July.
All right, boys. Hey, great to talk to you guys. I'm pulling back up to our hotel. I just went on a little beer run. I figured I'd shoot my little 2 cents in there. I don't want to take up too much time.
All right, man. No, man, Bobby, I always appreciate when you call, and that was a great call. It's always nice to get a perspective from an opposing fan, so I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah, and Bobby.
Because I honestly think that the Porzingis move was made to make big moves in the offseason.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely why it was 100%. And Bobby, before I let you go, I'm going to say enjoy the hell out of your night tonight at the Super Bowl.
the Knicks are going to make at least one, and possibly two big moves in the offseason. They have to. They would not clear that much money up.
But let me ask you this real quick before I let you go, because I want to get your thought on this. If they miss on Durant, if he doesn't come here, and you're saying they're definitely going to make a big move, do you think the Knicks will feel the pressure to sign a second-tier starter with max contract? Because that's what I worry about. I mean, because we got burnt with Amare.
Well, it's hard to say because, I mean, I don't exactly trust the Knicks front office.
Right. I mean, it's a new front office, but yes, past history shows that they don't make the best decisions.
All right, boys. As usual, good to talk to you. And go, Pat.
Hey, Bobby, just one more thing before you go. I hope you have a great time at the Super Bowl, but I hope you leave heartbroken.
Hey, man, it's all right, man. I embrace the hate. We the evil empire. We America's worst nightmare, and we coming for 6 tonight.
All right.
All right, Bobby. Enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game.
Good talking to you guys. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a great sub, my man. Yeah, Bobby always brings laughs. He's a good caller too. Very knowledgeable sports fan.
Yeah, and I want to touch on something that Mark was saying about this regime, getting rid of all of Phil Jackson's guys. Before Phil Jackson left, obviously Carmelo Anthony, he wanted to trade Carmelo Anthony. He probably should have never given Carmelo Anthony the contract that he gave him. I think he's fell into the pressure of the fans and the media in New York City and it being Carmelo Anthony. But when rumors came out that he was looking to trade Kristaps Porzingis, for whatever reasons, people were in an uproar. And, he was looking to, the big trade rumor that was out there was Lauri Markkanen and whatever else. Maybe there were some things that he knew as well.
Right. Now, well, I personally, I'm just thinking about this as you're talking. I think the person that we really should, I mean, and I'm upset KP's gone, and I understand the trade though, but I think the real person that is to blame for this trade, if you really look at it, it's Mills.
Steve Mills?
Yeah, because he was the one that signed Hardaway. Yeah. And if we had never signed Hardaway, we wouldn't have never had to make this trade in the first place.
That's a good point. And Steve Mills kind of, with everything that went on with and Dennis Smith Jr. right now is, seems to be playing pretty well in his first game as a Knick. Just kind of glancing at the game. I'm not sure of the stats. But Steve Mills is kind of, for someone like KP who has been in New York, for 3.5 years or whatever. Steve Mills was there when he came. Steve Mills is there when he's left. He's kind of like that symbol of dysfunction. And it's not just for KP, but it's kind of for everyone. And people really hope that Scott Perry is the brainchild. But, I could see where KP would not trust Steve Mills, right? Steve Mills is like a chameleon. He's with this person and he's got this plan, and then he's with Phil Jackson, he's got this plan, and now he's the president and there's another plan, and he's like, yeah. So you got another caller.
Is somebody on the phone?
Yeah, there's another caller on the line. We were talking, so I didn't want to, just.
I didn't realize there was a caller on the line. What's going on?
Jesus, can I talk jerk off or what?
Mr. Bad Dog, what's going on? I'm, of course, going to be on Mr. Bad Dog's channel at 4 o'clock. What's going on, buddy?
Okay, so a couple things. First of all, Bobby, my man, go Pats. I'm with you on that, even though I'm a Giants fan. I root for the evil empire and Tom Brady. Plus, I love Bobby, so, I want him to leave happy. And right. I just kind of, Mark, I know he's an emotional guy. I get it. I want to talk him down off the ledge a little bit. I've been a Knicks fan since 1984.
Please talk him down.
And I mean, heartbreak in 94. I mean, the Knicks break our heart. It's just what they do. But you got to think positively, man. This trade, it's about time we thought outside the box. What we've done for the last 18 years here isn't working. This could be huge for us. And when the Knicks finally do turn it around, and we got to believe that they're going to turn this around, think of how happy we're going to be when they actually come back to prominence and they do the things that they did in the 90s. When we're competitive.
One thing, I'm going to let you keep going, but I want to say this before I forget. You say that they need to try something different. But I could argue from Mark's perspective that keeping KP would have been trying something different because this team has never kept their draft picks. And they finally draft the guy with the 4th overall pick. He seems to be working out, obviously his injury history. But I could actually argue that keeping KP would have been what would have been doing something different.
See, I don't know, man. What did we win with KP here?
Well, I mean, what did KP have? Let's be fair. I mean, last year when KP was here, this pretty much the same. Actually, Sim, I have a question for you. This team last year with KP on it, if you take KP off it, I could argue last year's team is less talented than this one. And KP had that team playing 500 basketball. So
listen,
I mean, KP.
First of all, there's talk that he wasn't coming back here. So if he just decided to walk, we get nothing for him. So we had to get something. And number 2, if you're going to sign him, he's probably going to get a ton of money. And what other money do you have to build around him?
Right.
Because the Knicks never, like you said, we never keep our draft picks. We haven't had draft picks like this in years. It's about time that they went the other way and tried to stockpile some draft picks instead of giving them all away for these overpriced, these free agents that are past their prime or these players that are past their prime. I don't know. I like the move, man. I think we had to do something different. I think KP, I liked KP, but I'm not a huge KP guy. I felt like we completely tanked incorrectly that year when we got him. We should have ended up with Karl Anthony Towns, but we ended up with Kristaps Porzingis. And, I just don't like the fact the guy don't rebound. That agitates me. When you're 7'3", you need to learn how to post up and rebound. You can't average 6.5 rebounds a game when you're 7'3".
I don't mean to interrupt. I just got a super chat. I just want to say thank you so much, Movie Critic. He says, please pick up my call. We're taking one at a time, Movie Critic. If we get to you, we'll try to get to you. But go ahead, Bad Dog. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You do what you got to do, my man. But, yeah, I just, I feel bad. I understand Mark's pain. I do. I'm a Knicks fan. I get it. I mean, it's embarrassing. We are a freaking embarrassing franchise. And every year it seems like we're changing 9 players a year. We're changing head coaches. We're changing GMs. And nothing we do ever works. Every year we're winning 22 games, 18 games, 26 games. It's frustrating. So I understand his pain.
And after what you said, it makes a lot of sense in the sense that now this is something different. The fact that they have 7 first-round picks in the next 5 years, Sim, in the past, and Bad Dog, in the past, we would have like 1 in the next 5 years. Right. So, I mean, it is refreshing to know that we have 7 first-round picks over the next 5 years, and we have cap space. So we are in a good position. Nobody could deny that. As Knicks fans, what we worry about, I think what Mark worries about, is he thinks they're going to screw it up. And it's fair to worry about that because they have in the past.
Yeah.
But I will say they've never been in this good of a – the Amari situation, they were not in as good of a spot as they are in now in terms of having young talent and future draft picks.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. We could mess up a cup of coffee. We've been doing it for years. But, I just want to, real quick, your opinion. If we do miss on big-time free agent, if we do miss on KD, Kawhi, or Kyrie, what do you guys think we do? Do you think they're going to panic and grab a Jimmy Butler or something like that? I mean, that's a guy you've mentioned before. Do you think they do that? I mean, let me ask you this. What if we do miss on those 3 guys? What the hell do we do? What do you think we should do if they don't come here? What do you think we should do with the cap space?
I mean, I think if they don't come here and we miss, I think we should just go full out rebuild, keep the cap space. I mean, you got to sign some people because there's a minimum amount of money that you got to use, right? So you got to sign some people, but you don't sign anything to anyone. You don't sign anyone to anything that's long term. You don't go past 1920 because, it's still a possibility that if, Anthony Davis doesn't, he gets traded somewhere and he doesn't sign an extension, right? But I think, you then bank on your draft picks. You got draft picks, you got cap space, you have the ability to, you have flexibility. I mean, like supreme flexibility in that situation. So I think that, you just stay patient.
I just want to say I saw Jose Reyes, who I love, by the way, and we usually agree, but he's kind of saying be patient, laughing like we've been, we haven't won anything in 20 years. But to me, That's part of the reason why we haven't won anything in 20 years, because we haven't been patient.
We haven't been patient.
We've always traded our assets for guys like Zach Randolph, for Antonio McDyess and Stephon Marbury, and it doesn't work out.
Right.
What were we saying, Bad Dog?
For him, isn't that what we did?
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
I thought we traded Camby for Antonio McDyess.
Right.
Oh no, yeah, we traded picks too, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. We always try to go for the big dogs instead of just trying to groom. And I guess that's the big argument about KP, right? Is we had a homegrown star that we didn't get a chance to really groom, but things happen the way it happened. And now you really, if you don't get these big guys, you really have a blank slate. Like, you're really, really clean. Even when KP came, we weren't, the cap wasn't clean. We still didn't really have draft picks. We had a few, but we still had some stuff reeling from the Andre Bargnani trade and all of that stuff. Now, if you don't get KD and Kyrie, you don't get one of those guys or two of those guys, now you have 7 first-round draft picks in the next 5 years. You maybe got a real star coming in this summer when you talk about our draft picks. You got Kevin Knox, you got Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina, you got Damian Dotson, Alonzo Trier, Mitchell Robinson. You really got a clean slate of young guys that you can try to grow up together, because I feel like this year, having KP and mostly Tim Hardaway Jr., not KP. Having Tim Hardaway Jr., I felt like put a hamper on the team a little bit, because I didn't feel like Fizdale could actually discipline the guys, actually hold people accountable, because for whatever reason, Tim Hardaway had some sort of cachet that he didn't deserve. Now you can really take just a group of young guys and really build with them and actually have some really good talent. So I think that's the way to go, because you can use that cap space to bring in more draft picks. There's a lot of things that you can do. So yeah, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, I think so.
Great points, man. Great points. I'm not going to take up much more of your time, guys. Just want to say, Sim, I love your channel. I love what you do, man. You are fantastic at it. And anytime I want some Knicks information, I go usually watch your shows, because I love what you do. And Chris, you're the man. I'll see you at 4 for the Super Bowl, my man. You guys have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you. Everybody come on over to Mr. Bad Dog's channel at 4 o'clock. If you haven't done so, he's going to be back in the chat. Sub him up. He's got a great channel over there. Always love working with him. Thank you for calling in, Bad Dog.
All right.
You guys got it.
See you later.
But one other thing I want to address, because I didn't want to interrupt the call. I saw who's Mark saying he's going to die of being patient, whatever, and he's screaming about being patient. But, Mark, here's my question to you. We're not saying be patient. If you could get Kevin Durant, if you could get Kyrie Irving, you get Kawhi Leonard, don't be patient. Go and get them. But what's the alternative if you don't get those guys? Are you going to go and spend the money on Butler and Doug and Boogie Cousins? Because that would be not being patient. And if they do that, I think that would be the dumbest thing they could ever do. So if you don't get the big name, you have to be patient.
Right. And I also think even if we kept KP, and we just picked up another caller, but just let that caller know, give us a second. Just give us a second, caller. Even if we would have kept KP, I still think we would have had to have been patient, because keeping KP, you still had Tim Hardaway. I mean, yeah, we had some cap money this year, but maybe you get a KD, maybe you don't. And if you didn't get a KD this summer, if we kept Porzingis, you're still going to be talking about being patient, because Tim Hardaway was chewing down your cap. Courtney Lee was chewing down your cap space. You didn't have much flexibility. We had our first-round draft picks, but didn't have much flexibility in being able to maneuver and do things. The team wouldn't have been good enough to do much if you didn't get KP, or if you didn't get KD or Kyrie or one of those guys. The team wouldn't have been good enough to do much. We still would have been being patient, in my opinion. I think we still would be being patient.
To me, that's how you win in basketball. You sign max players to max deals, and there's only 8, 9, 10 players like that. The teams that don't do well, and the Knicks have done this in the past, there's plenty of people who have done this. The Kings signed Rudy Gay to a max contract. I go down tons of names. Tobias Harris. There are players that get huge contracts that are middle-tier players, and when you do that, you don't win. You sign max players to max deals. That's what you do to win. And if the Knicks don't do that, and somebody said, what's my problem with Jimmy Butler? I have no problem with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's a very good player. He's not a max player, and that's what he's going to cost.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a caller on the line. Caller, how you doing today?
Hey guys.
Hello, who's this? What's going on? Who's this?
Yeah, how's it going? I didn't think the trade was actually that bad, to be honest. If they can lend Kevin Durant or Kyrie,
Yeah, well, no, that's the whole key to this trade. The whole key to this trade is how are they going to spend that $75 million? And if they don't get those guys, are they going to be patient enough to not waste it on second-tier players? That's my biggest worry.
Yeah, plus he was also injured a lot. And he was, guys, his height is hard to come back from an ACL injury.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, there's only been out of players in the NBA that's over 7'3". There's only been one player that has been healthy his entire career. That was Mark Eaton. And if you look at Mark Eaton, like he was 7'3", but like he was a huge 7'3". Like his legs were tree trunks. He was a huge 7'3". Yeah, I mean that was always a scary thing about KP. Always a scary thing.
Yeah. And they called him the unicorn for a reason, because 7'3" guys are not meant to play the way he does.
Yeah. And
it's unbelievable. And I love him. I love watching him. And in my heart, I said, I hope he stays healthy. I'm a fan of the Knicks. And if he does, he's going to be unbelievable. But if I'm being completely fair, it's at best a coin flip that this guy stays healthy for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
So I do understand. I have to be fair. I mean, everybody in this chat, I hope, saw my video. And if they did, they knew how upset I was and frustrated I was the day that they traded KP. But as a trying to be knowledgeable sports fan, you have to take a step back and you have to think and ask yourself, why did they make this trade? And when you really look into it, there's a reason they made the trade. And now the question is, can they make the right decisions off of it? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, initially I hated the trade, but then when I saw that they could probably get Kevin Durant or Kyrie and team them up with maybe even Zion if they get lucky enough to get the first pick, then that'll be great.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, everything is going to depend. You really won't know the impact of this trade for a couple of years, to tell you the truth.
I'm not making excuses, by the way, who's Mark. I'm not making excuses. I wanted to keep KP. I still wish they could have kept KP. I am saying I can understand why they traded him. There's no way anybody can tell me that they can't understand it. There's a reason why they traded him. And part of it is probably has to do with his injury history. And I think it's a fair concern. It is a fair concern if you're being completely unbiased.
Right. I mean, exactly. I mean, I hope, listen, Mark, whoever else, I really do hope. I don't want KP to be injured. I don't care that he's playing in Dallas, right? I want him to have a good career. I just love basketball, so I want to see what he can become. Am I going to feel bad later on that the Knicks didn't keep him? Probably not. And the reason why is because it seemed like it just wasn't going to work in New York. Even if the Knicks did force him out, like, some people are going to be saying, or what could come out next week, who knows? Even if that did happen, it just is apparent that it wasn't going to work in New York. Either way it happened, it wasn't going to work in New York with KP and the Knicks. So it's probably for the best all the way around. I hope that KP has a great career. I want to see.
Thank you. I just want to say I got a super chat. I'm going to interrupt you. I just never want to forget it. Detonator, I really do appreciate that. He says, "What's up, Chris? Go Jets, 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 Jets." Thank you so much for the super chat, buddy.
And Mark says, "I never liked KP." That's just far from the truth. That's way far from the truth, Mark. I may have had arguments about KP because I'm always going to speak my mind about any player, and I thought that people were calling him a superstar before it was warranted, right? I always thought he had the potential to be a superstar, but at this point, I didn't think he was a superstar. He's an all-star. I think he had a lot to go. Like the last caller said, He needed to get his rebounding up.
Yeah.
He should be averaging 10 rebounds a game. I thought, he definitely needed to get his strength up because, he was easy to be thrown around. And a lot of that was because he was a young player. And he had
I'm going to be fair to Mark here. I think he would have. Had he stayed healthy, I think he will morph into that guy that is going to average 25, 26, 27, and 8 or 9. I think he will do that if he stays healthy.
Right. And I
feel like we got to let the caller talk. We've been cutting him off.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, caller. I think that he can be that as well. I just thought it was premature that people were calling him a superstar.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, you're a prove-it guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My question is, do you think the Knicks will get the first overall pick?
They have a 14% chance.
Yeah,
they have a 14% chance. That's the new lottery rules.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to see what happens with DeAndre Jordan, Dennis Smith Jr., Wesley Matthews getting playing time. We'll see if that changes the course of of what's going on. There'll be some people upset about that as well. Because right now,
the one thing I will say, even though the first, second, and third all have a 13% chance, it's still better for them to finish with the worst because then the worst you could finish is with the 4th pick. If you finish with the 3rd pick, even though you have the same percentage to get the 1st pick, if 3 teams jump you, you drop to the 6th.
Yeah.
So you still put yourself in a better situation if you finish with the worst record.
Right.
Is Zion Williamson the guy you guys want?
I don't know. I'm still looking and seeing. Just checking. Just watching. I'm not sure exactly right now. I want to see. I want to see the NCAA. I want to see March Madness. I like to see. I mean, regular season is one thing. When the stakes are high, that's when you really see who comes out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Do you think Kevin Durant will actually join the Knicks though? After seeing what happened to Kristaps,
I'm going to say 2 things. One, I think the reason I think it's a good chance he'll be here is because I don't think the Knicks would have made. Well, you could say that they made the move because Porzingis forced them to, but I gotta think that the Knicks had some kind of thought process that we're gonna be able to get a big guy to do this. But by the same token, I mean, if I'm Durant, I don't come here because you don't offer me anything. You're not going to win in the next 2 or 3 years, in my opinion. They don't have enough pieces on this team yet, so I wouldn't go there if I was Durant. I hope he comes.
Yes, but what if Durant? Sometimes the players they talk to one another, and he talks to Kyrie and says, "Yo, let's go to New York and see what we could do there." Do you think that's a possibility? Because a lot of what I hear from the media, I don't know how true it is that's what's going on.
Well, all right, I'm going to ask you, Sim. Even with Kyrie, do you think this team can win a championship with Durant and Kyrie? Because I don't. I think they need more than that.
You got to have more. I think you got to have more than that.
But they could go far. They could go.
But as a Knicks fan, at this point, I don't care about going far. I'm 33 years old. I've been watching this team since I've been born, and I don't care about going far. I don't care about second rounds. I don't care about third rounds. I care about championships, and that's what I want.
Yeah. I don't know if they can win the championship. I mean, you still got some tough teams out there.
Would hamper them, no? And who knows if
of course, yeah.
It would hamper them, but also, they won championships before KD got there. So
But do you think
who's beating KD and Kyrie? The Warriors, I think, would still beat them. If LeBron got AD, I think the Lakers would beat them. And the thing is this: if they get Zion, we have to see how Zion is. I don't think Zion's going to be a superstar right out of the gate. It's going to probably even if he becomes one, it's going to take 2 years. So even with those 2 players, they're not going to win a championship yet, in my opinion. I think it would take till probably the 3rd year where they had a legitimate chance. And by that point, you have to hope that Durant is still a top echelon star.
Right.
So there's a lot of factors that go into this.
Yeah.
What about Klay Thompson, though? Do you think he'll stay with the Warriors, or do you think he'll go somewhere else after the season?
I don't know. I don't know.
He seems to really like it there from everything I've ever read. He's a West Coast guy. I don't think he'd be a Knick, and I'd be surprised if he left the Warriors. But anything's possible.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam? What do you think on that?
With Klay Thompson, I don't know. I think I'd be surprised. I think, a lot of people say, he wants his own team and da-da-da. I don't think so. I think he's content in what he's doing there. Yeah, I think he's content. And let's not forget, if KD does leave, I'm not gonna say that Boogie Cousins is gonna step in his shoes, but they probably signed Boogie Cousins to a nice contract, and we haven't really seen what Boogie Cousins is gonna do there this year. He probably, they step in and they figure out how to play with Boogie Cousins, and you get a player that's, of really, really good caliber, stepping in, because he really hasn't played this year, so if he leaves, you got Boogie Cousins there. I say that the Warriors will still be just as good as they are now.
That's a great point you bring up. I didn't even think about Boogie Cousins sliding in and really taking Durant's role. That's a really good point you brought up. Yeah.
Do you think the Knicks will trade Cantor, and who would they get for Cantor, if anything?
Nothing. They're not getting anything for Cantor.
I don't think they're going to get anything for Cantor, because with Cantor, here's the issue. Cantor is an expired contract, so you're not going to take back any other contracts, because if you take back contracts that are longer than 1920, that are longer than this year actually, then you're going to hurt your cap space. I don't think you're going to be able to find anything for Cantor. I think he's just going to get waived after the deadline. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I that's the thing. Can a team have use for Cantor? Sure, but where you have to find a team that has another
a team with another expiring contract, and with everything that's going on with Cantor right now, right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sim.
I was gonna say, with everything that's going on with Cantor right now, nobody's, what a team's gonna offer for him. They just wait until he gets waived. They know he's gonna get waived. Probably they'll wait until he gets waived, then they'll pick him up.
Yeah, but I'm gonna let you go. I want to say thank you for calling in, but we only got about another 20 minutes, so I want to get an opportunity to have somebody else call in.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the chance to talk to you guys. Great show, and I'm already subscribed, so I'll just.
I appreciate that, and I hope you subscribe to Sim. If you're not, please do so.
Yeah, and let's go Rams.
All right.
There you go, my man. And anybody want to call? We'll go to about 2:35. We'll go another 20 minutes. So anybody that wants to call in, please call in. If not, me and Sim are just going to talk.
Yeah. Right now it's at the half of the game. Knicks versus Memphis. It's at the half. Dennis Smith Jr. has 7 points, 3 assists, shooting 50% from the field. DeAndre Jordan has 5 points and 7 rebounds. He also has 2 assists. Yeah, 2 assists, and he has 1 block. Kevin Knox has 6 points. Noah Vonleh has 2 points, 4 rebounds. Luke Cornett is leading us in scoring with 11 points. He also has 2 rebounds. Wesley Matthews has played 11 minutes, but he hasn't scored. Mario Hezonja's got 5 points and 4 rebounds.
Now you brought up Knox in the box score there.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed a little bit this year with Knox's development? Because I know before the year started, we both had him pegged for about 17 points a game and a Rookie of the Year contender. He didn't even make the Rookie All-Star team. Are you if you're being completely fair, are you a little disappointed with him this year?
I am. I'm a little bit disappointed with him. I expected him. I expect him to be about 17 points. I definitely expected him to be 6 or 7 rebounds a game. I'm not exactly sure what his stats are, but it's not 6 or 7 rebounds. It's 4 rebounds, 12.5 points and 4.2 rebounds per game. I really want to see him get more on the boards. I want to see him, score a little bit more. I'm hoping, though, without Tim Hardaway Jr. here, we'll see his scoring pick up. I'm hoping.
Yeah, you see the guy that I think that is really going to put up the points is DSJ. Oh, yeah. I think he'll be the leading scorer on this team going forward for the rest of the year.
I think he probably will be, but also what I have seen from what I've seen so far. Now he's in a honeymoon period. I've seen Kevin Knox with his wide open threes that I've seen all year created from Dennis Smith Jr.
I still like Knox. Yeah. I'm not as high. I mean, Knicks fans are very passionate. Knicks fans get excited about their rookies. And I remember before the year started, people were saying he was going to be Durant. I don't agree with that. But I think he could be a very nice player. I still think he'd be a very nice player.
But I mean, what I'm saying is, I think now, without Tim Hardaway and Dennis Smith Jr. out there, we may see his scoring pick up a little bit, because just as we've been talking, I've been watching the game, and I've seen Kevin Knox get some wide open looks.
Oh, sounds like somebody's on the phone here.
Yeah, just pick it up.
Oh, okay. Hello, who's this? You're on live with Simeon, the entertainer. What's going on?
Hey, Chris and Sim, this is Chester. How you guys doing?
Chester, what's going on, man?
Chester, I met Chester at 2 of the Knicks games. What's going on, buddy?
That's right. And that, I want to talk about that when we went to that first game.
Before you talk, I don't want to cut you off. I just got a super chat. I always want to address that. The movie critic said, I just subbed to you, Nothing But Knicks, and I am already subscribed to you, Chris. Love the show, and thank you for taking my call. No, thank you, movie critic, and thank you for subbing to Sim.
Thank you. Appreciate you, movie critic. Appreciate you. Hopefully you won't be disappointed.
You won't be. You won't be. Sim's adorable. You'll love his channel. But go ahead. Go ahead, Chester.
All right. When we went to that first game, the Atlanta game, the opening game, and we were sitting at courtside, and Tim Hardaway Sr. was sitting there chumming it up with Mills and all those guys. And I thought to myself, there's no way Hardaway's ever going to be gone. At that point, I didn't want him to be gone. But it's, it shows to me that Mills and Perry as a team are stone cold killers. They're going to do whatever they have to do to get what they have to get done. Yeah. And it's not like what the fans think, players are or are going to be. Players come and go. The Knicks are forever, at least since I've been alive. And, I can't get upset about a player being traded. I remembered the Dodgers leaving to go to L.A. Now, that was a tragedy.
You were a Brooklyn Dodgers fan?
Yeah, I was from Brooklyn,
Yeah. I don't know if you said that earlier. The phone cut off for me for a second.
Yeah, I was 10 years old. We were from Brooklyn originally. My father was a diehard Dodger fan. And interestingly, that same year, Red Holtzman came to the Knicks. And my father grew up with him in Brownsville, and we became instant Knicks fans. And I've seen a lot of players come and go, and everybody's, complaining about 20 years. It's been like since 1973, 74. So it's a lot longer than that. It's like 40 years since the Knicks won a championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's all I care about. And I think you probably feel the same way. I don't care about playoff appearances and finals appearances. I care about championships at this point.
Exactly. Well, small steps at a time.
Well, of course. Yeah. I'm just saying, I want them to build. I don't want them to build this team to be a team like the Atlanta Hawks were a few years ago, a team that was constantly getting the 4th seed. They'd make the second round, they'd be competitive, and then they would get knocked out. I don't want that. I want a team that has a shot to win a title. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm enjoying the Knicks as much this year as I ever have. It's like incredible to me that I could still, get enthusiastic about this team. And it's the Knicks, And
I think you're one of the few Knicks fans. You're a true Knicks fan, because there's not many Knicks fans that would say that they've enjoyed this season as much as many, considering they have the worst record in the league. But I get where you're going. You like the youth movement. You like where they're headed. I get it.
Yeah. And I really have faith in Mills and Perry as a team. They both have connections in the league. Mills is a chameleon, but you got to be to stay around. And I think Mills is Perry is really smart. So I think the combination of them is really going to, hold good things for the future for the Knicks.
Yeah.
And I don't want to interrupt you. Dylan Renner just gave me a super chat. He said, do you think the Oklahoma City Thunder is a strong competitor for a championship? I'll ask both you guys that. That's a good, and thank you again for the super chat, Dylan. What do you guys think? Do you think the Thunder, do you think they have a shot to win a title this year?
I don't.
No.
I don't. I think that the Warriors are just too good.
The Warriors are so complete. It's it's like them and then the rest of the league.
Right.
You know, and no matter what's happening in the regular season, they've been through it already. It's going to be, you know, the playoff time is when they're really going to shine.
Yeah.
And they're just, I can't, you know, nobody's going to beat them.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think OKC is strong. It's a good team, but they're, you know, when it comes down to it.
We saw how good OKC was when we went to see him a couple of days ago, right? A couple of weeks ago.
Exactly.
They beat the hell out of our Knicks. But yeah, they got a great team. But it's just you know, you're not beating the Avengers. That's what I call the Warriors because they got every superhero. Right. And I mean, the only way that would ever happen, the only way any team has a chance, in my opinion, is if, and you don't hope this ever, but one of those guys has to get hurt. Right.
And you know, for the. And even if one of those guys gets hurt, I mean, Steph Curry last night when the Warriors played the Lakers, you know, through 3 quarters, he had 2 points and the Warriors still led at the end of the third quarter. And then he went wild in the fourth quarter, you know, and when he went wild. So it was a close game at the end of 3 with the Warriors leading, I believe. And he only had 2 points, hadn't scored a field goal. Then in the fourth quarter, when he finally gets hot, they blow the Lakers out.
That's what they do. That's what they always do. Like they almost put you to sleep because it's like it's almost like a boxer that they just exchange blows for 3 quarters and then they turn on the Jets for a 3-minute spurt and they're up by 20 points.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's just what they do.
Yeah.
You know,
I just have one thing I want to say before I get off the phone. I'm going to get off now, but I hope the Patriots lose and Boston sucks. Goodbye.
Chester, man, it was a blast talking to you, and I had a really good time meeting.
Yeah, it froze up a little bit. Meeting you, are you going to say
one of those meetups?
Oh, go ahead, entertainer.
Oh no, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It froze up for a second while you were speaking, but I think he jumped off anyway.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying that I had a really good time meeting him, and I had a great time talking to him today, and I was saying the next time you have one of those meetups, I'm sure he'll be there, and I can't wait to meet him again.
Yeah. Chester's great, man. Chester's great.
I love Chester.
Yeah, we got another call coming in. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. So the way this works is these calls are in queue. So as soon as one person hangs up, the next person that's in queue is ready to pick right up. So,
what's going on? You're on live with the entertainer. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. No, it hasn't picked up yet. It hasn't fully picked up.
Oh, I apologize. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to the phone system.
Yeah, here you go. It's up now. It's picked up now.
All right. Who's this?
Hey, this is Seth Friedman from New Jersey.
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, what's happening? I was hoping we could talk about upcoming free agency. Not really Knicks much, but I was wondering your guys' opinion about where you think Durant's going, Clay, Kyrie. What do you guys think?
I just before we talk, I just got another super chat. I just want to say thank you so much, Justin Smith. He says, with DSJ better offensively, moving the ball well, if his defense really improves, is Frank's time expired? And I'll let both of you guys answer that. I would say I can't answer that yet. I really can't because I would say, Justin, Frank, if DSJ plays well, Frank's role as a starter is expired probably.
Yeah.
But I think he could still have a role on the bench.
Yeah.
Like a Marcus Smart type role. But I'll let you guys answer that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot is going to depend on what happens in free agency. I know a lot of people think Frank's going to be traded by the deadline. I disagree. I think that let's say, for example, we do not get Kyrie Irving and Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, because right now, this is the first game, but, the offense does look like it's moving a little bit better. There's more penetration, so it looks good. So let's just say it works out. I would say you probably get rid of Moutier. You don't bring him back, and then you let Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank kind of man that point guard spot. Dennis Smith Jr. as the starter. Most likely Frank Ntilikina coming off the bench. Let's say you do get Kyrie. And then you got to figure out something with Dennis Smith Jr. He probably wants to be a starter in this league, right? If he's so you might be moving Dennis Smith Jr. So now you're still looking at Frank Ntilikina coming off the bench, maybe behind Kyrie Irving. And then Frank Ntilikina is also the kind of player that could move from different spots. He could be the 1, the 2, the 3. So he's valuable in that area where, he can move around in different positions on the floor. So I think that there'll be a role for him, maybe not as a starter, but there'll be a role for him, I think, as a valuable contributor on the team, even if it's not as a starter.
Yeah, no, he I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be on this team or not. As you know, I'm not as big of a Frank guy, and I think Sims come down on Frank a little bit. I think you still think he has potential, but
I'm still a big fan. But I'm just real with what I'm, with what's.
Yeah, you got to be fair. I'm not a fan of Frank. I shouldn't say that. I know Frank could have a role on the Knicks. I just don't think he's ever going to be a starting point guard. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he proves me wrong and he becomes an efficient scorer. But right now the guy's shooting 35%, whatever it is, and he's gotten worse offensively, as opposed to last year. So we got to be honest with ourselves as Knicks fans. You have to say to yourself, you know what? We've given this guy now 2 years, and people are going to make excuses for him. They're going to say he didn't play at the point guard, he didn't have KP for the pick and roll. But my personal point of view is, I get sick of making excuses for players. You're either good or you're not. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give him one more year. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a starter, but I'll give him one more year to see what he's got. Maybe he could be a contributor. I hope he can. His defense is still very good. You could always use defense.
Right.
So, but I don't know if he's ever going to be more than like an 18 to 20-minute guy off the bench. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's great.
And see, my thing is, even if he is an 18 to 20-minute guy off the bench, you need guys like that. You need guys that are, because Frank doesn't have an ego. At least it's not apparent that he has an ego. And he's like, I got to be the starter. I got to have the ball in my hands. He's not that kind of a guy, right? So you do need to have guys on any team that are willing to just play a role. And I think, the more I'm looking, the more I watch, you can see little glimpses here and there of things that he possibly can do. Will he ever put it all together? I don't know. There's a question mark there, right? If he ever puts it all together. But I think that he can be a contributor, be one of those guys that, you can pull in and, he can, if you need him to run the point guard spot for a couple minutes, he can do it. If you need him to run the 2, he can do that too. If you need him to be at the 3, he can help out there as well.
One thing I will say though, if that's all he is, do you think he'll be here long term, like when his rookie contract's up? Because I don't.
It depends. I guess it depends on how he develops in that area.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of time. If he becomes the kind of guy that you're like, oh, well, he really is a glue guy, and and he's not going to be expensive, because if that's all he is, then he's not going to be expensive when his next.
That's true. You're right. You're right. Maybe you get him on a cheap contract. You're right. That's fair.
So it's going to be hard to say. One of the biggest complaints.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Shim. Do we still have the caller on the line?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
do. Still on.
Yeah, but me and Shim, we get into the discussion. We apologize.
Sorry about that. I know you were talking about free agency. But one of the things that, even with KP, now KP surprised us, and he came in and he was supposed to be a project, but he was much more than it. It was more than a project. He was a little bit more ready to go. We kind of knew Frank was going to be a project for a little while. I don't think anyone thought he was going to be ready to go. And I think giving him to his third year to really start to, you got the third year and then really judging him in the fourth year, I think is fair.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is fair. Yeah. But what's your thoughts, Cole?
I'm not really sure. I honestly think, I don't think Kristaps. I think there's more behind the Kristaps trade, because if you saw on his Instagram story, he said something about the truth will come out soon. So I think there might have been something like the management's fault, and it wasn't really him who wanted to get traded. So I'm not. So really
you're thinking more like Mark is that that KP didn't want to leave. He was forced to leave.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I'm sure in a little bit there's going to be like a bombshell dropped from him saying that, management basically forced him out, just like you said. But in terms of the other free agents coming in, I'm not really sure if there's going to be anyone really going to New York, except maybe Kyrie or Jimmy. I'm not really sure, to be honest, that we really have a shot at getting anyone.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope. I hope that they made this move. Part of the reason they made this move was knowing that there was a good chance they were going to be able to bring in KD. But I mean, from the outside looking in, if I'm being completely fair, I agree with you. I don't see a reason for KD to come here if he's looking to win a championship.
Yeah.
I mean, it may happen in 2 or 3 years, but it ain't going to happen next year.
Right.
I mean, obviously, if KD comes to New York, they're obviously a playoff team because it's
for sure.
But they're not a championship team.
No.
Even with Kyrie, I don't think they're a championship team. Not next year.
No.
And one of the things about KD coming here that has been out there, and there's videos where you can see it. He's in Maryland. Well, he's from Maryland, just 4 hours from New York City, and he's had videos where he talked about how much he loved going to New York City to play basketball. And the affection that he's had for New York City. There are some people that seem to believe that his affection for the city and wanting to play basketball in New York City is what might be driving him to come play in New York City. That he's won what he's won. He's won 2 rings, especially if he wins a 3rd ring. I think the thinking behind it is that, I got 3 rings. Let me get a new challenge. Right? I agree with you. Because if it's all about the rings for Durant, he stays where he is. Exactly.
But if he's leaving Golden State, it's to help his legacy.
Yeah.
Because at this point, he can win all the rings he wants. People are always going to throw in his face, well, you have to team up with all those superstars.
Yeah.
If he leaves and wins, I'll say this: if at this point he's won his championships, winning 1 championship with a team like the Knicks is worth 20 with the Warriors for his legacy. And that's why that would be the calling card for him to leave the Warriors. Now, I'm not saying the Knicks are the team he would go to, but that would be the reason why he would leave the Warriors if he was going to leave.
Right. And right now, I mean, if you really look at it, right now would be the time to do it with the Knicks' current situation. Because
of the draft pick and the cap space.
Exactly, because the draft pick and the cap space, you can bring in people. If this was 2010, LeBron might have been a Knick.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right, because the Knicks didn't have this in 2010. What did they have? They had Raymond Felton that they signed in free agency that year. They had nobody. They had no draft picks. You're right. It's a much better situation. They had Chandler and Gallinari, I guess. Those are okay pieces, but they weren't. Nothing to write home about.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. Well, we'll see how free agency is going to be a frenzy, at least for New York this year. I mean, it's a frenzy every year, but it's really going to be a frenzy this year with the high stakes, the high profile players that are out, and the Knicks having cap space. Like they did with LeBron. If you remember back in 2010, it was like it was so crazy. People, I mean, there were cameras following LeBron around. Anytime he met with somebody, they were having ESPN would break in and have a story about it. It was the weirdest and wildest thing ever. It could be like that this summer.
Yeah, no, it is, and hopefully he takes his talents to New York.
Yeah.
But anything else? I'm sure we got maybe a couple more calls online. I'll go to 3. I don't care. I'm going to be streaming all day anyway, so it seems like people calling in. So we're going to let you go unless you got closing words.
Before you let me go, I'm just going to ask you one more quick question. If by any chance, by trade deadline, if Anthony Davis gets traded to L.A., who do you got, Warriors or Lakers?
Do the Warriors still have Durant?
Warriors. Yeah.
Warriors still have Durant.
I'm taking
the Warriors
because I think that the Lakers gonna have to give up. So they're gonna have to give up a lot of pieces. They're gonna have, and then it's gonna take the summer. It's gonna take free agency to fill some of those pieces in. So the Warriors. But then the following year, fill in a few pieces. There's gonna be some vets that want to go play with LeBron and AD. Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
I just want to say hello to New York Sports Fanatic. He says, "What's up, entertainer?" Anybody that is new to my channel, please hit that subscribe. But more importantly, go to the link in the description and please sub up Sim, Nothing But Knicks. He's got a terrific Knicks channel over there. If you're a New York sports fan, you're going to want to check it out. So please check him out.
Yeah, I would definitely appreciate it. And after the game, about a half hour after this game, I'll be doing a post-game analysis. So.
Yeah, so be sure to check him out over there. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much for the call. Thank you for being a great subscriber, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
All right. And it looks like he had already jumped off. So we got another caller coming in.
All right, just let me know when they come in. I know we got that little hold time. We're going to go for another 23 minutes, guys. We'll go to 3 because then I need a little break.
Yeah, I need a little break too so I can get prepared for the post game because I got to get some graphics and stuff ready. Yep, caller. We got a caller online. He's ready.
Hey, what's going on? You're on live. Who's this?
Sam from New Jersey.
What's going on? Oh, you were the big Giants fan I talked to last night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you drop? You didn't drop your email.
I will. I set a reminder on my phone to do it today. I haven't got to it.
Okay, no worries. I just, I want to have you on the show. You're very knowledgeable. But today we're talking Knicks. What's up?
Yeah, I think the Knicks deal with the Porzingis move was actually great for the Knicks, to be honest. And I think they put themselves in a better position to win in the future, having be like the NBA now. The draft's great and all, but if you're a contending team, like the draft picks aren't a huge deal. Unless you're getting a Zion and R.J. Barrett type player like the Knicks actually might already with their picks, but they may even get a free agent or two, which I think they actually will. I believe KD and Kyrie are going to think long and hard about coming to New York.
So let me ask you this. If they get KD and Kyrie, if it's the dream scenario, and let's say the ping pong ball is falling our way, and by the grace of God, the 14% chance we get Zion Williamson. Thank you so much, D. Riviera, for the super chat. He says, is it possible that KP, Steve Mills, and Scott Perry are all in on the grand plan to trade KP now just to create cap space and gain assets, all while bringing KP back in 2020? I don't think so. I'll let them answer that, but I don't think so, D. Riviera, because I think KP has a sour taste in his mouth at this point. I don't think he wants anything to do with the Knicks. I really don't.
I think the KP move is more about them being afraid of his injuries going on for the future. I mean, this has taken a while for him to recover, and he's a big dude, so it's not like he's going to heal just as almost like just any generic player would. These are going to last throughout his career. He's going to always linger with these problems.
Yeah, no, I think that's part. I think part. We don't know the real reason. We said this earlier. Like, it could be that he wanted out. It could be the Knicks wanted out. But no matter what, I don't think he's ever going to wear a Knicks uniform again. Maybe at the end of his career, but not in the foreseeable future. And I hate saying that because I like KP, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it either.
I see Kyrie coming, definitely. I really do.
Now let me ask you this. If they get Kyrie, if they get Durant, and if they get Zion Williamson, if they get lucky, do you think they can contend for a championship next year?
If they get Zion, yeah.
You really do? You think next year with those three they can contend?
I really do. You may need a little help with the Warriors breaking up, but I can't see the Lakers right now are in a tough spot. I mean, if they get AD, they could get lucky in the summer with if Clay or they're going to need to make one more move. But I do see the Knicks, if they can get KD, Kyrie, and then draft Zion and still have him on his rookie deal, they'll have a real shot to win.
Interesting. I mean, I think it would depend on how good of a player Zion is his first year.
Yeah.
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 You know, if he takes off and he's a star from the jump, yeah. You know,
he's only going to – the knees are going to give out eventually, I think, with Zion. So, like, his first 3 years or first 4 years are going to be the best years of Zion, I think.
And I'm going to ask you, Ensign, this question. When you watch him play, who does he remind you of in terms of, of a past NBA player? Like, who does he most remind you of? Because I'll tell you right now, the guy he reminds me of, he's a little shorter, but he reminds me of Blake Griffin before he had his jump shot. And he reminds me of Amari Stoudemire before he had his jump shot.
Yeah.
Most people compare him to Charles Barkley because he's undersized. What were you saying?
I said a mix between Sean Kemp and LeBron.
I think Sean. I don't know about LeBron. I think Sean Kemp is a really good comparison. Sean Kemp, Blake Griffin. I think that's a really good comparison. Those guys right there.
Larry Johnson's a good one.
Larry Johnson too. Larry Johnson's a good one.
But it was more.
And what's up, Bobby? I see you said hi a couple of times. What's up, Bobby? But yeah, LJ before the injury is actually a very good comparison because LJ before the injury was a freak.
Oh my gosh, he was a monster.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. But yeah, I hope you're right. I hope they can contend for a title with those 3-year one. I won't rule it out. The other thing you got to realize is if they get those two, it almost have like the Miami effect when they got all those veteran players to come aboard to try to chase that title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
New York's already a pretty attractive spot to go and play, and if they could make a couple good, just not too much, but just solid players that could maybe shoot the ball or play good around KD and Kyrie, because KD and Kyrie are going to have the ball in their hands. Like they both like the rock in their hands. They're going to need a couple of shooters, a couple guys that'll do the dirty work down low. Even DeAndre Jordan, I can see him being a part of the future.
We were saying that.
Had a solid, good year.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. Let's say that the Knicks end up with the fourth pick. Do you couple some of those Dallas picks to move up and possibly move up if a team wants to?
I was going to say, I don't know if a team's going to want to with the caliber of players in those top 3 slots.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
the draft really dips off after that. Really does.
Yeah. So what do you do if you fall out of the top 3? If the Knicks fall out of the top 3, what do you do?
I think you take whoever you deem the best available player, whether it be Cam Reddish or somebody else. But to me, there's a clear top 3 at this point, and it's Zion, it's Barrett, and it's Morant, and in any specific order. And let's just hope as Knicks fans that we finish in the top 3.
Yeah, right. But the flexibility is there though to use some of those Dallas draft picks if you really wanted to try to move up if a team would fall for it.
A team would go for it. No, we definitely have some capital for sure. It's just a matter of is the team willing to do it, and I don't know. In this year's draft, I don't know, but let's put it this way: we have a 50% chance the way the draft lottery works to finish in the top 3 if we finish with the worst pick. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
It's funny. Always like listening.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. You're a great caller. So anytime you ever want to call in, more than welcome to call.
I'll drop my email in the comments for you to have.
Yeah, please do so. Please do so.
Gotcha.
Great call. Have a good one. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
You too.
All right. Have a good one, my man. And it's funny. I'm looking in the chat, and Mark is, talking about Zion, and I can recall a few shows ago where Mark was like, he don't think Zion's going to be what, Zion's going to be what everyone is saying. He was kind of down on Zion. I'm wondering what changed his mind. I guess I could find that out a little bit later. When he
I like Zion a lot. Now I get the concerns. He weighs, what does he weigh? Like 285 pounds, and he's 6'7". So a lot of people think he won't be able to hold up, with that weight long term in the NBA. And they say he needs to improve his jump shot. But the jump shot thing doesn't worry me that much. I mean, you've seen so many big men improve their jump shot. I mean, Amari is a perfect example. That guy couldn't shoot a lick when he got into the NBA.
Right.
Hi.
Oh, what's going on? You're on live. Who's this?
Chris, you know my voice.
I couldn't hear it at first. Yes, Bobby from Vermont. What is going on, Bobby? Big Yankee fan.
The guy on the left looks like Clyde Frazier, doesn't he, a little bit?
Well,
his name's Sim. His name's Sim, Bobby.
Yeah.
Hey, guy, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm definitely not as smooth as Clyde Frazier. I can tell you that.
Well, you look like him. Where are you from originally?
I'm from upstate New York.
You're from Queens?
No, I'm from upstate New York.
What part of upstate New York?
Albany.
Oh, yeah, that's where the Giants used to train, remember?
Yeah.
That's where the Giants train. SUNY Albany. Yep.
Can I
Albany,
ask you a question? How can you talk 24/7 about the Knicks? The Knicks stink. I'm a big Knicks fan, but they do stink.
They do.
How do you talk 24/7 about them?
Because he
loves them, Bobby.
Yeah,
loves them.
I mean, I love
know
the Knicks.
He must have what's the word called? I don't know how to explain it. But he must have much patience with the Knicks.
Well, I do.
I've been in the Knicks since way back when you and used to play. They didn't win anything back then, you know.
But, there's always something to talk about with the Knicks. There's always some kind of drama. Something's going to happen, right?
Oh, yeah, with Nolan, because he's a stinky owner. He's stuck. It stinks. By
the way, Bob, I don't mean to cut you off, Bobby, but I know you always seem to want to see new YouTube channels. Sim's link is in the description. You're not going to want to miss his channel. It's a lot of fun. You will want to go over there and check him out.
You think I'm funny?
Oh, but Bobby, you're the best. You're the best.
I'm from Vermont. I used to live in New York. I was born in the Bronx, then moved to Queens. Do you ever live in those places, Sim?
No, I spent a lot of time in Brooklyn. I can't say that.
Oh, Brooklyn.
I can't say that I lived in Brooklyn.
Parsons at all?
Say that again?
You know Aquari Parsons?
No, I don't.
He lives in Harlem.
No, I don't.
Is that just like a random person that you asked? You know how many millions of billions of people there are in this world?
9 to 12. He's funny.
But Bobby, do you have any thoughts?
Funny too.
But Bobby, I have a question.
So Chris, you go for the Rams, right?
Yeah, but I have a question because there's a Knicks chat.
Yeah.
What's your takes on the Porzingis trade?
I think that was horrible. I think it was pretty dumb.
Yeah, you didn't like what they got back.
No. This girl on she has her own YouTube channel. She's very pretty looking. She hated that trade. She is a smart girl. She knows what she's saying.
Yeah, and she didn't like the trade.
Yesterday. She's a very pretty girl. She has black hair. She's
that's good to know.
You know that lady?
I don't know that lady. There's a lot of ladies with black hair that are pretty, so I wouldn't be able to tell you the one that you're talking about.
Sports girl. Very pretty.
Yeah, sure.
But I think they might get Zion if they get the number 1 pick. Zion looks pretty good, doesn't he?
Oh, Zion's a beast. We were saying that before you called. He's a stud.
Yeah, but I don't like Duke Blue Devils. I don't like the coach with the nose. I call him Beaker.
You talking about Krzyzewski?
Beaker. What's his name of the coach on the Duke?
You talking about Coach K, Krzyzewski?
Yeah, that's Beaker. Call him Beaker. He has that nose.
Bobby, you are a character, my friend.
I try to be, you know that.
I know you.
Chris likes to talk to me all the time. Chris, I couldn't believe you didn't recognize my voice.
I know when you first came in, it was a little dim. I always recognize your voice. Your voice is.
You're on the new
You have a beautiful
phone. That's not your phone, right?
No, you're calling Sim's phone. Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that idiot calling in your show. Yeah.
But Bobby, I'm going to let you go because we're winding down the show.
You go. I talk too much, Jim. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Bobby. You're good.
Yeah, we always like talking to you, Bobby. Thank you for calling in, Bobby.
Yeah, you guys have a great afternoon. Let's go Rams.
All right.
Enjoy the Super Bowl, buddy.
All right, Bobby. Have a great day. All right. Enjoyable caller.
Yeah, he's a character. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. We've got about 9 minutes. We're going to close it out at 3. We'll take one more caller, I think, and then we'll probably have a couple of closing words if there's anybody on the line. I don't know if there is, Sim.
I don't think there's anybody in queue. I think we used up the queue. The thing is, I can't really see the queue. All I know is that
you know what? We've taken enough callers. We got 9 minutes. We'll close it out. I just want to say I hope that we could make this a semi-regular thing. I love talking Knicks with you. It's always fun. And the more we do this, the more I think it'll grow. I think it'll make a lot of my subscribers Knicks fans and people that are more knowledgeable about basketball. So I appreciate what you bring to my channel. And I really enjoyed having you on today. I really did.
I appreciate it. It's been great. And I'm doing the VIP member on my website. And I plan to have a podcast that I do weekly, and I would love for you to join that podcast. And the podcast would be only for the VIP members. It's not ready yet. It'll be out soon. But I would love to have you be on the podcast with me. Not, obviously you might not be able to do it all the time, but as much.
Oh, no. Whenever you want, man. I mean, I don't, we both have busy schedules, but yeah, no, 100. Anytime you want me to do anything, whether it come on your channel, if I can work on the podcast, I'm in. I am in. Yeah. And I got a question. We would talk last time we talked. Well, not last time we talked. That was yesterday, but about a week ago we talked. How's the thing going with the court with the Knicks? We rented out the court.
Well, I spoke with my rep at MSG, and the problem is he doesn't have any more room available for this year. When I spoke to him the first time, it was on a weekend, and he thought he was going to be able to get us in. The closest space that he had available, he did have something available, was February, and I was like, that's just too close for me to get enough people. And I was trying to push towards something in March, but he didn't have anything in March. They only do it during the week, not the weekends, because I guess it's just more cost effective to do it during the week. They already have staff there to open up the gym or the court, where on the weekends they would have to pay someone to come in extra. So I told him, he was looking to see if maybe he could pull something off in March. He's going to let me know by this week. If he can't pull anything off in March, then it'll be something we do next year.
All right, yeah, because I think that would be incredible. Sim came up with a brilliant idea where, and it was much cheaper than I thought it would be.
Right.
You said it was 150, right? It would break down to be, and it was you get to play an hour on the garden floor and then actually go to a Knicks game.
Right. So basically, what we're working out is it's going to be where there's a Knicks game later on that evening. And sometime in the morning between like 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 10 to 11, or 12 to 1, or whatever it would be, we'd get 30 people that'd be able to play on the court. Yeah, it would have to be limited to 30. And that would cost about $150. You get to play on the court, and you'd get to go to the game that night. And then other people, they'd pay about $100 or $115, something like that. And they'd get to come watch everybody else play, and then they'd get to attend, watch the game that night. So, and we were going to set it up just like a regular basketball game. We were going to live stream it, have this, the score on the live stream. We'd have some people play as, be referees. We'd have a couple of coaches out there for each side. We set the whole thing up as our own game.
That would be incredible. I think that would be the coolest thing ever. And Mr. Bad Dog says, I bet Sims 5 would give the Knicks starting 5 a tough game.
We might, yeah.
Yeah, I think they would. Jose Reyes wants to know, can we shower in the Knicks locker room?
Nah, I doubt that. I don't know if I want to do that anyway, but.
Yeah, I doubt that. But I'll tell you, I did a tour of Madison Square Garden when Jet Central was here. We did a tour of it, and I got to go in the locker rooms, and the locker room is much smaller than I thought it would be. It really is.
It looks like we got one more call coming in. You want to take it?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I just want to say hello to Kendra. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be over at Bad Dogs later, but yeah, go ahead, take that call.
All right, caller, you're live. Who are we speaking with?
This is New York sports fanatic.
What's going on, New York sports fanatic? Thank you for calling in, buddy.
No problem. How's it going?
Going good, man. I got Sam on the channel. He's got a great channel over there with the Knicks. Be sure to check him out. And we're talking Knicks today. What's up, man? What do you want to talk about?
So I have one question. So let's have this scenario, which probably will most likely happen. We don't get Kyrie. We don't get Kevin Durant, and we might land with the fourth pick. What do we do? What's our plan B?
That is literally a doomsday scenario, and and everything you just described is like as bad as it could possibly be. And I'll tell you what, knowing the Knicks, that is exactly what's going to happen.
Being a Knicks fan.
At that point, we pray. I mean, we just pray. At that point, we just throw our hands up in the air and say, you know what, this may never work. And but I mean. That is the biggest thing. And when do they do the lottery, by the way? I know they do it during a playoff game, right? At halftime usually?
Not going to lie, I'm not sure when they actually do it. But,
yeah, I want to say they do it in like May or June, but I know it's going to be before free agency. So we're going to know before free agency if we're getting screwed, because we have to get a top 3 pick. We have to get a top 3 pick.
I know. Oh my God, we're last right now, but with this trade, I felt like our team got stronger. But
you mean this year's team because KP's out? Yeah, no, it definitely did. It definitely did.
Yeah, the team definitely got stronger. Although we're down 12 right now to the Memphis Grizzlies, so
yeah, the tank's still on. The tank is still on. There's no doubt about it. But that's actually. I mean, Sim, what would you do in that scenario? I mean, at that point, you take the best available player with the 4th pick. And if you miss out on KD and Kyrie, I mean, as much as Knicks fans don't want to hear this, you have to wait.
You just have to wait. You just have to wait and try to build with what you have. I think that's the only possible solution. You know what I mean?
So we'll take like the Nets route where we just build.
What I do in that scenario is I sign guys to 1-year contracts. You fill out your roster next year with 1-year contracts. You let them fall off, and then you go for another big splash in the following year, and you keep going until you get the premier player you want. You don't waste it on second-tier guys because you'll never win championships.
Right.
I'm of the mindset, Sam, and I don't give a crap. I don't care if we win 45 games and make the playoffs. I don't. It's better in my opinion. I never root for my team to lose, but it's almost better to lose and get a high draft pick. I don't care about getting knocked out in the first round.
Well, I think the 40. I think it depends on how your team is set up with those 45.
No, exactly. Right, I mean the team they currently have. But if they are a team that is built, yes, get some experience. I agree with that.
Yeah. So like let's say next year, let's just say we didn't get KD and those guys, and next year we got Zion, and then we were able to use the cap space to trade for another young budding star or something, and then we looked and we said, okay, you know what, we have a nice nucleus. Now let's really try to go out and win some games, and then 1920 or 2021, we win 45 games, but all of our guys are young, all of our guys are on great contracts. Then you take that 45 wins, right? And you build off of it. Right.
Yeah.
But I think, if that situation comes, we just got to be patient. See who our draft pick is, and then just continue with a rebuilding plan and try to get players that, want to be in New York. Young players that have the potential to be stars. And try to go from there. Now, you could try to make some moves to move up if you wanted to. I guess, they could. I don't know if there's going to be anyone that's going to give up Zion Williamson if he has, if they have the number 1 pick. But you never know. We thought that about Markelle Fultz.
Yeah. No, you never know. Yeah. You never know. But it is 3:00, so we're going to let you go. I want to say thank you for calling in, though. And right, enjoy the Super Bowl, my man.
All right.
You too.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. We are going to wrap this up. I'm going to let Sim say his closing words, and then I'll close it out. Sim, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is, I know people are still, kind of sore. Your hearts are still a little bit sore over everything that happened with KP. But we can't be like that forever. At some point, we got to move forward. And wish KP the best. Hope that KP becomes, I've seen some people say that they don't hope he becomes a star. I disagree. I still want KP to do very well in the NBA. He's going to be a superstar. Be a superstar. And look at who we have, support who we have, and figure out a way. Trust that Scott Perry and Steve Mills are going to figure out a way to make these guys. To build a team. We are basically at ground zero right now. We've never ever been at ground zero. Ever. Even when we drafted Porzingis, we still had Melo there. We weren't at ground zero. We're at ground zero right now. The first time ever that we've been at ground zero. So
it really is. It really is. You're right. Yeah. And I'm going to agree with everything you just said there. I mean, what other choice do we have? Are we going to just sit there and be miserable and just say, "Oh my, it's over"? And you either go on with what the team decided to do, or you don't. And at this point, you have to see the positives in what they did, and there are certainly positives. Now we have to figure out how to get the most out of what they've been given.
Right.
You know, you have to pick the right free agents and you have to draft the right player. The next key date for the Knicks is whenever they pull out the ping pong balls, and we hope and we pray that we win that 14% chance, and that's where we go from here. And I can't wait to have Sim on again. I had such a blast doing this. This was like I thought it was great conversation, great sports talk. And I love adding a basketball element to my channel because, of course, I have a lot of Giants content, but I love my Knicks. And I want to get my Mets stuff up soon, too. But definitely want to have Sim back on. And if you haven't done so, please go into the link in the description and sub my man up. And I want to say thank you to Sim for coming on. I want to say thank you to everybody that tuned in and watched us this whole time. I had a great time doing it. I hope you guys enjoy the Super Bowl. And please meet us over on Mr. Bad Dog's channel at 4 o'clock as we stream the Super Bowl. And please go over to Sim's channel and check him out for his post-game show.
That's right. Post-game. The only thing is post-game is probably going to end up being about the same time that you're on. That they
go back and forth. They go back and forth. I mean, they go to your post-game show, and then for the game, they come over to us.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. It's been great, and we can set up the next one anytime. We just make the schedules work and set up the next one anytime.
You know what? We'll do it next week. I don't know the day yet, but I'll put it in my community notes. We'll figure out a day we could do it, and we'll have another one of these maybe next Sunday or something during the day, same time, something like that. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
All right, guys. You guys have a great day, and as always,
enjoy the Super Bowl.
And enjoy the Super Bowl. Yeah.